What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 9 Iya, Chapter 203,201. What a magical world, for subscription, for reward, for monthly pass. Advertisement. A few days later, New World, G5 Marine Branch. Sakazuki came here, and Pelusalino had already left. Lucas and Sakazuki are sitting in the office. In the next period of time, I will become the new base commander of the G5 Marine Branch. Sakazuki said to Lucas, but he didn't give any order for Lucas to move out of here. Lucas heaved a sigh of relief. It's better to move away directly, otherwise, as soon as his front foot is moved away, the people on the island where the G5 Marine Branch is located on the back foot will be slaughtered by the retaliatory pirates. Then he will feel very uncomfortable. It's not that the Virgin is not the Virgin, but from the perspective of a Marine, it is impossible to accept such a thing. Understood. Lucas nodded. Sakazuki looked at him and laughed. Bring your subordinates and come back to Marineford for your awards in a few days. Now that there is Sakazuki guard here, he can relax and go to Marineford to attend the awards. His subordinates will be promoted at that time. Sakazuki smiled and looked at Lucas as he went out. This kid always made him more and more satisfied. He has achieved what he is now at a young age, and he is indeed his adopted son. A few days later, Sakazuki personally sent Lucas to the port and sent him back to Marineford temporarily. Come back as soon as possible, you are still too young, experience and strength have yet to be improved. Clear. The warship leaves the port and leaves the G5 Marine Branch. After leaving the G5 branch, Lucas also encountered several rookie pirates who had just arrived from the first half of the Grand Line. The two rookie pirates immediately turned their bows when they saw him. It's just that those guys were all buried in the sea by Buggy. And there was a group of pirates who saw him not running at all, and they were bold enough to face him directly. These arrogant newcomer pirates tried to kill Lucas to make a name for themselves. Lucas reluctantly harvested the opponent's head. The world is so big that there are always a few more courageous guys out there. After all, compared with those SBs who were still clamoring anti-masks in 2021, it was obviously better. He has seen something outrageous, but he has never seen a magical existence like the Mold Country. Leaving New World and returning to Marineford, the headquarters of Marine, Lucas once again met many friends. I saw the little brothers I hadn't seen for a long time. Advertisement. Take a few of his confidants, and his little brothers, oh, yes, and little sisters. Lucas went straight to the restaurant and asked them to eat something special. Among them, Luffy is called the most joyous, happy. Although Grandpa Smelly would visit him occasionally, he wanted to count on Garp to take care of the children. What, don't you say that Dorag wasn't raised by Garp? Haven't you seen that Dorag has become the leader of the Revolutionary Army? The second day, Lucas came to the place where the awards were held, and many friends he knew came here. This is so magical. Zan Momomaru, wearing a red belly kabuto, walked over, struggling to pat Lucas on the shoulder. One is more than 2 meters, and the other is more than 3 meters. It is indeed a little bit laborious. What's the matter? Lucas smiled and looked at Zan Momomaru. This guy would use the words he taught, not poking or poking. How long have you been Marine? You have made so many credits and fought so many powerful fights, so I want to get involved with you. Zan Momomaru said with a sigh. Although Pelusalino did not come, Zan Momomaru's words were obviously full of helplessness towards the Marine scientific forces. Tenton was nestled in the Marine Science Unit and mixed with the group of scholars. He felt bored. He had already said all the secrets in his mouth for a long time, and what those scholars said could not be understood even if they opened up a single word, and it felt inexplicable if they were connected together. Then you will be transferred to my hands, and you will be guaranteed to be promoted to 2 consecutive levels a year. Lucas joked. I feel like I can think about it. Quote. Lucas, you are amazing. Hina sighed as she walked over. But, Hina didn't plan to say hello to Lucas. Hina is over 1 meter 8, and there is nowhere to take a picture. If you hug, to be honest, Hina is not the shameless Monet, this height difference, I don't want to hug Lucas. Let's go in. Monet dragged Lucas's hand and walked in. Hey, when did you take a daughter? Smoker's voice came from behind. This time he came back from East Blue specifically to see the younger brother. Huh, Monet glared at Smoker angrily. Lucas glanced at Monet, who was a lot shorter than himself, and laughed. You got a daughter. Monet angrily pointed to the little girl who Smoker was holding. Advertisement. Smoker put a big seaman's hat on the little girl's head, which directly covered half of her head, with her small puffy mouth on the bottom half of her face. Purple children's clothes, light cyan children's pants, the little guy is wearing a pair of pink shoes, and is pulled slowly by Smoker. I picked it up, Smoker said with a smile, then smoked a cigarette. It smells bad, the little guy protested, but it was useless. If Smoker really listened to her opinion, Smoker would change his name. What's the little guy's name? Lucas knelt down and looked at the little girl with a smile. Up to, Tashigi, my name is Tashigi. As soon as Smoker said a word, the little girl gave her name first. However, just after saying this, little Tashigi hid behind Smoker's legs, his face was slightly red, and his head came out from behind Smoker's legs, secretly looking at the adults who were looking at her. It's so cute, where did you pick it up? Lucas stood up and looked at Smoker with a smile. When he first walked with Garp to East Blue, why didn't he pick up such a cute potential stock? A village ransacked by pirates. Smoker said with a laugh. Quote. Lucas glanced at Tashigi and said nothing more. Aren't you also picked up? Zondao Maru said. Quote. Lucas looked at this guy silently. Quote. Smoker really can't keep up with Zon Momomaru's brain circuit. Can it be so active? Zondao Maru. Let's try it all day tomorrow. Okay, what's the matter? Quote. Hina sighed. He wanted to beat you all day. God, it's all agreed. The award ceremony began. Lucas and his friends, as well as his subordinates who were eligible to come this time, all came here and waited quietly. The first one was for Lucas to go up and say a lot of fake words, which made him go down. Moreover, this time he was promoted directly from Rear Admiral to Vice Admiral. Vice Admiral, under the age of 20, this world is too magical, hey. Hina sighed. Chapter 204,202. You actually thought of what I thought of. Stinking rogue. For subscription. For monthly pass. For reward. Advertisement. Lucas was promoted to Vice Admiral, Monet was promoted to Colonel, Akin was promoted to Lieutenant Colonel, Ain was promoted to Major. From Lucas to the newcomers Al Ain, Bins and others have been promoted. It's just that Buggy sat for a long time and didn't call himself once. Buggy Patrol Captain, there is no credit for hard work. Do you treat him like this? Oh, here comes it. Buggy heard his name call out, and quickly sat up straight. Since the day when Lucas was forced to become Marine, he has understood a truth. Since he can't resist, then enjoy it. Swish's promotion is also good. Result. Puff haha. Even Ah Jin, who has always been calm, couldn't help but laugh. At the awards meeting, I just praised Buggy in a simple sentence. I did a good job, no more. Buggy heartache. At the end of the award meeting, Lucas took his subordinates and friends to another restaurant. During the meal, Hina and Smoker both exclaimed, we haven't started to show our talents, the younger brother has already grown up. The times are so terrible, I dare not see the younger brother anymore. Aren't we using it anymore? The little brother has surpassed us. Leaving the restaurant, Lucas waved goodbye to everyone. He and Monet, one by one, sent Smoker and Hina back to their residences. The two of them are heartbroken tonight, very disappointed, drunk too much, drunk. After sending Smoker and Hina, Lucas then sent Monet. Hey, now I have time, that. Monet lowered his head shyly, pulling Lucas by the corner of his clothes. You don't need to bow your head, I can't see your head if I don't bow your head. Lucas said inexplicably and affectionately. You. Monet was so angry that he raised his head quickly, and strenuously grabbed Lucas's shoulder. Your head is lowered for me, I'm struggling like this. So, what's the matter? Lucas lowered his head, his heart throbbed, and he was also embarrassed. Well, he really has no experience with women. Can we do that? It's something only men and women can do. Monet blushed after saying this. Advertisement. Which one? Lucas looked at Monet in confusion, but looked at Monet, who was a little excited with a smile, and looked at the other's blushing face. He understands in seconds. We haven't reached that point. We can't sleep. Lucas waved quickly and said nervously. He didn't want to be scolded by scumbags. Huh. Monet looked at Lucas incomprehensibly. You rascal, how could you think of what I thought of? I'm not talking about this. Monet denied it here without silver 300 taels. Lucas didn't understand, and he took the little hand, and he didn't object, that shouldn't be. It's, moi. Monet yanked Lucas directly in front of her. Lucas bent over and Monet took a bite of moi. She licked her mouth, smirked and continued for a while, then directly let go of her hand, turned and ran home, and slammed the door. Lucas smashed his mouth, it was okay, very exciting. Female hooligan, I thought you thought of what I thought, and it made me excited for a long time. Lucas laughed for a while, turned and walked away. Everyone makes mistakes, especially those made on impulse. Teachers describe this as a normal physiological phenomenon, but the novel says it is called love. Lucas went all the way back home, took off his clothes in the bedroom, lay on the bed, and kicked the little ghost several times in a row. Monet was so provocative, he just wanted to be alone. Lucas always likes a woman, after all, there is no internet in this world, no online games. Cough. Serious, a person's life, it is impossible for a person to die alone forever, no matter whether it is physical or psychological, the company of another person is indispensable. In the yard, dozing Luffy went straight back to Sakazuki's bedroom and began to sleep. And Sanji, Kid, and Kira stood outside the window, looking at brother Lucas puzzled. Why did he turn around? Is it hot today? Thinking about women, he. Kid and Kira smirked, the experienced Kid and Kira smirked, although they just thought about the little girl and never made an appointment once. At this time, Monet's house. Sugar sighed, and stood outside the window with Baby 5 and Koala, looking puzzled at Sister Monet who was tossing about on the bed in the bedroom. Is it so hot today? Sugar said puzzledly. The second day. Advertisement. Just as Lucas was about to leave, a Marine came in and said that Sengoku wanted to see him. Lucas hurried all the way to Sengoku's office. Although it is very helpless to say that, I still want to ask if you would like to transfer back to Marineford. Sengoku looked at Lucas. It didn't take long for Lucas to become the base of the G5 branch. This time the upper level saw how dedicated he was to hunting down the pirates. Seeing how high his value is, the upper management hopes that Lucas can consider transferring back to Marineford. Blue brew, blue brew. Sengoku looked at the phone worm in front of him, and quickly signaled Lucas to go out and wait for a while, then picked up the handset. Okay, come in. Yes. Lucas walked in and looked at Sengoku. 5 elders decided to transfer you back to Marine headquarters, Marineford from today. All future actions must be approved by me. ... Sengoku said a lot, and the meaning was obvious. 5 elders decided to reuse Lucas and transferred him back to Marine headquarters to temporarily protect him. Later, Lucas directly listened to Sengoku's orders and transferred from Sakazuki to Sengoku's hands. And among Lucas's subordinates, Buggy and those technicians, will be transferred to the Marine Science Unit. Monet, Akin and many of Lucas's former subordinates will all have their own warships. These people still belong to Lucas's subordinates, but they have been transferred to other branches. Sakazuki will continue to be stationed at the New World G5 Marine branch. For these sudden orders, Lucas has no right to refuse, and there is no room for negotiation. He must agree, otherwise it will be the result of not obeying orders, and that is the distrust of the upper echelons. If he wants his faction to grow in Marine, he must remain honest and obediently obedient. Lucas walked out of Sengoku's office and walked all the way to the house. Lucas has nothing to worry about because his subordinates have their own places to go. His subordinates will leave sooner or later. If they have been living under his protection, what else can they talk about becoming stronger? A Marine who only knows the training under his protection and does not experience growth alone, can never really become stronger. Monet was teasing the kids in the yard at this time. Lucas glanced at her. Go in, I have something to tell you. Chapter 205,203. Wapple's Bad Water. For subscription. For monthly pass. For reward. Advertisement. A few days later. Marine headquarters Marineford, shore. Lucas sent his former men to leave, and Akin was sent to a marine branch not far from Drum Country. Goodbye. Akin made a military salute to Lucas, without saying much, turned and walked onto his warship, leaving Marineford. Monet was sent to South Blue, the marine branch of an island not far from the kingdom of Torino. I'm leaving. Don't like other women. Monet stood in front of Lucas, whispering. Don't worry. Lucas patted Monet on the shoulder and hugged her in his arms. Monet let him bend down, moi gently into his face, turned back to the warship, and ordered her men to leave Marineford with Marine. Lucas personally sent away the old men. Besides Monet, there are many other men. Ain and Binz hadn't been on his ship for long, so they still stayed with him. Sending off his men, Lucas took Ain and Binz and turned and left here. Hey, you are all transferred away, still following us. Binz turned and looked at the Buggy who followed. I will always be a loyal subordinate of Lucas Vice Admiral. Buggy said with a smile. FK up. Ain glanced at Buggy disgustingly. Let's go out. Lucas said with a smile. Buggy, your kid's road is getting wider. A few days later. 135 Marine Branch. Ah Jin walked on the training ground, watching his subordinates training, and nodded in satisfaction. When I first arrived at the 135th branch, although the Marines here would also train Tenten, the former base commander was obviously not in charge. He unexpectedly saw seamen who were trained to be lazy. Under the supervision of his cold eyes and big punches, these, cute, seamen gradually corrected their mentality and didn't dare to be too lazy. Moreover, they encountered a pirate group before, and after destroying the rookie pirate group, they only found 5 million Baileys. They were too poor, and they didn't find where the other party grabbed such a small amount of money. The source is unknown. So Ah Jin waved his hand and used the money directly to buy some food and wine, so that his subordinates had a good meal. Having rewarded his subordinates, these people looked at him with less fear and more respect. Advertisement. I'm special. Akin really believed some of the myths that Lucas said this time. Sometimes, you can't just use your great ideals to influence your subordinates, but you also have to satisfy them materially. Only if you have enough food and drink and pay, they will accept you further. The sir is not a liar. You have to let them live their lives first before they will go to work with you. Hey, Ah Jin glanced at his fist and let it go. It seems that he still needs to learn a lot from Lucas Vice Admiral. At the same time, the Drum Country. Wapple came to Jace's house with his confidants Jace and Chromoliman. Sitting in the room, Wapple was wearing thick clothes one after another, holding a glass of hot wine in his hand, taking a sip, and placing his hand on the lap of the beautiful woman next to him. Jace looked at the abnormal Wapple and sighed. The room is very warm. Even if you put on a piece of underwear, you will not feel cold. However, since Wapple recovered from a serious illness, there has been a psychological shadow. No matter where Wapple goes, he wears thicker clothes than others. Why don't you call Dalton? Chromely looked at Wapple puzzled. He can't know what we are going to talk about this time. Wapple squeezed a handful of beautiful women, and then threw the wine glass to the ground. Jace and Chromoliman quickly and honestly listened to Wapple's speech. Wapple's eyes were full of impatience. He had been ill for so long, but the father, who was immortal. Under the treatment and care of those doctors, the old guy is still alive. There is still time to visit ordinary people in other places in the country these days. What else did he say? I want to see Lieutenant Colonel Akin of Branch 135 in a few days. He is an old subordinate of Vice Admiral Lucas. Humph. The more Wapple thought, the more angry he was. He was so cold that he had been ill for so long and almost died of freezing. As a result, the old thing was alive and well, still occupying his throne. Wapple slapped the beautiful woman on the ground, then looked at Jace and Chromoliman and said viciously, I want to poison the old immortal and ascend to the throne. Will you help me? Your Majesty, please give me your orders. Jace and Chromolymon knelt in front of Wapol and said respectfully. Ha ha ha. Wapol laughed excitedly when he heard the words of Your Majesty, stood up excitedly, and looked at the two cronies. Advertisement. That B*********** D. Dalton is too stubborn to help me. I will transfer him away in 2 days and let him deal with the pirates, and you, go find a poison master, and configure a higher level of poison. It is best not to let people see the problem and poison the old immortal. What about those doctors investigating? Jace asked. Healing poison can only be done in a single thought. Doctors can save people, and people with unhealthy minds can turn into poisoners and harm people. The doctors around the king are absolutely capable of investigating the truth of the matter. I will form Dr. 20. As long as I am in power, all doctors in the country except the doctors around me are illegal doctors and should be deported. The stubborn can be killed on the spot, Wapol said with a smirk. Although these opinions were made by the two cronies before, Wapol wanted to do something with the doctors. One is to conceal the cause of death of the old king so that he can successfully inherit the throne, and the other is to allow him to control the life and death of all the people in the country through the doctors in charge of the whole country. Who dares not listen to him, go to death. I have to say that before Wapol became king, he was already bad. Understood. Your Majesty is still wise. Chromolymon flattered. Ha ha ha. Wapol laughed, then looked at the beauty who looked at him in horror. Jace and Chromolymon looked at the woman together with cold expressions. Kill her. No. Before she struggled, the beauty was solved by Jace and Chromolymon, losing her strength and fell down. After the event is over, you will be the staff of the drum country, Jace, and Chromolymon, you will be the affairs officer of the drum country. Wapol looked at the two confidants and said, Thank your Majesty. Jace and Chromolymon knelt again. Jace suddenly remembered something and asked, Where is Dalton? He will continue to be the captain of his guard, just don't let him know. Wapol waved his hand indifferently. Anyway, Dalton still has some force, and he can protect his safety in the future. He did not attack Dalton. At the same time, outside the window, a doctor from Jace's family listened to the conversation inside, his face changed drastically, and his heart was terrified, and he hurriedly walked outside Jace's house. Chapter 206,204. Kazuki Hiyori. For subscription. For monthly pass. For reward. Advertisement. Snapped. There was a noise outside the door, and Jace and Chromolymon looked out the door one after another and ran out quickly. Pushing open the door and looking at the doctor who ran away from Jace's house, Jace's face changed drastically. Jace is a close friend of Wapol, his family is very large, and there are many guards in it. Under his shout, the guards went to catch the doctor one after another. Bang bang bang. There was a gunshot, and the guards fired directly at the doctor under Jace's orders. A few minutes later, the guard brought the eavesdropping doctor over. Jace confirmed the doctor's death and finally heaved a sigh of relief. They must not let outsiders know about the matter they planned, otherwise something big will happen. Wapol walked out with a gloomy face and glanced at Jace. The next thing is up to you. After that, they left Jace's house with Chromolymon. A few days later, Marineford. Lucas took a few days off at Marineford. Yes, I understand, I will try my best to finish it. The phone bug contact in Lucas's hand was hung up by him, and the microphone was put back. He has just received news from Ajin that the old king of the Drum Kingdom has died and Wapol has inherited the throne. After Wapol succeeded to the throne, the first thing he did was to establish Dr. 20 and declare that only the doctors around him were legal doctors. All doctors other than Dr. 20 inches must leave the drum country from now on. People in the drum country will only be able to see Dr. 20 in the future. All other doctors are illegal doctors. If found, they will be treated as criminals who rebelled against King Wapol. It can be said that Wapol's Sao trick really defeated the advantages of the drum country. After Wapol's law was announced, there was no need for Wapol to hurry up. Many countries rushed to send olive branches to doctors in those countries with magnetic drums. Originally, there were still some people in drum country who didn't want to leave their hometown. Several old doctors came to the street to protest, but they were shot and killed by Jace. This guy's move completely hurt the hearts of the people of the drum country. Compared to other countries, Lucas moves faster. Advertisement. As early as when the old king was still alive, he had recruited doctors in the drum country. He ordered Ajin to go to the drum country to accept doctors before he learned that many of the doctors in the drum country had chosen to go directly to Ajin. Some people hope to pass a kin to enter the marine team and become a military doctor. And the other part, I hope to be able to contact Lucas through a kin. I hope this vice admiral can help their country. I hope that the king will abolish the law. But the people in the second part are too naive. Even though Lucas now has some say in the marine team, how can he change the laws of a country as a marine? This is simply unrealistic. Generally speaking, Ajin is very reliable. He has accepted more than 50 doctors. In the future, he will try his best to accept doctors from the drum country. Anyway, SB Wapol doesn't want it. They can accept as much as they can. Blue brew, blue brew. The phone worm's voice rang. Lucas picked up the microphone and listened to the voice on the other side. The phone worm turned into Monet's appearance. Arrive. Pay more attention to the situation in the kingdom of Torino. Understood. That. Pay more attention to rest. Snapped. Lucas put the microphone directly back. It's one thing to fall in love, but it's another thing to work, and he can still tell the difference. Well, in fact, it's still a bit of what Phuket said, a straight steel man with a stone hammer, but he can't always say, drink more hot water, and then be criticized as, drink more magma. New World, G5 Marine Branch. Sakazuki was standing on the shore, and in the dark, pirate boats were burning and sinking toward the sea. A total of 3 pirate ships came to attack today, and they were all sunk by his abilities. Although there are as many pirates in New World as locusts, Sakazuki's fists made of magma fly into the sky, and then fall like meteors, hitting these guys and playing. What Lucas was worried about did not happen. Neither the Golden Lion nor Kaido came to this island, venting their anger towards the residents of the island. Sakazuki turned around and walked back to the base, and came to the cafeteria, sipping wine and eating dinner shirtless. Advertisement. A marine came and handed him the phone worm. Sakazuki picked up the microphone. ... Well, nothing. I deal with those weak and poor pirates every day. Nothing at all, Sakazuki hung up and continued drinking. Lucas is now stuck in Marineford. Apart from watching his subordinates training, he trains himself or handles some things all day long. But there are no days when pirates can fight, it is completely boring life for him. Although he didn't have such a thing as a system to do tasks, but the real battle involving life and death was like his instinctive desire. Fighting against the pirates makes him feel satisfied. If he encounters those with strange abilities or strong opponents, there will be a sense of excitement. People who desire to become stronger like actual combat. The same is true for Sakazuki. Most of the people who invade the G5 branch every day are the rookie pirates. One by one, they just came to the New World. One by one either wants to challenge opponents like Kaido, or to challenge the well-known G5 Marine branch before. As a result, the arrogant one by one watched the dense lava fists flying in the sky, and they were all dumbfounded. Sakazuki dealt with this kind of opponent, to be honest, it really feels like beating a child, and it also feels very boring. New World, Wanokuni. In the upper floor room of a restaurant, a group of beautiful women danced, winking at the big figures present from time to time. The serpent sat next to Kaido, facing the gloomy Kaido. He didn't dare to speak, so he could only look at the little fairies secretly with his head down. Especially Xiaozi, the Wanokuni number 1 beauty, in front of these women, is even more fascinated by the serpent. Rahei's small mouth and cute big eyes are full of charm in Orochi's eyes. Even if this woman doesn't wink like those little fairies, he still likes it. This B*********** D actually hid. Kaido drank, and suddenly became angry. He threw the wine gourd in front of everyone, and slapped the table with an angry slap. As the snake waved, the dancing women stepped back one after another. Hiwa glanced at Kaido curiously, and stepped back together. Neither the big snake nor the crazy dead man, nor the 3 remaining flying 6 cells, dared to speak out. If there are fewer people in the 3 disasters, you will be selected from the Phase 6 powers, and if there are fewer Phase 6 powers, you will be selected below. But after so many people died all of a sudden, Kaido really wanted to rush to Lucas and cut him off. Chapter 207-205. 99% of the legacy of the Drum Country. For subscription. For reward. For monthly pass. Advertisement. But Lucas was transferred back to Marineford by Marine. Even if he could make a big noise in Marineford, there are many strong players in Marineford. The older generations of Sengoku, Zephyr, Garp, etc. The new generation of Kuzan, Pelusolino, etc., and so many Marines. Kaido can make a big fuss, but with these people, his chances of killing Lucas are very low. It can be said that that is simply impossible. Can't kill Lucas, no matter how much trouble he goes to Marineford, it's useless. Ora gave Denjiro a look, and Denjiro took the wealthy businessman who had nothing to do with him and waited out. I have a way. Orochi looked at Kaido and said. Say. Kaido took the glass from Fei Lubao and drank it all. Now the new head of the G5 Marine branch is Sakazuki, and Sakazuki treats Lucas as a son. The next words, Orochi didn't say much. Kaido glanced at Orochi in disgust, and he didn't even bother with that kind of indiscriminate method. Lucas did kill the 3 plagues, which made him very angry, but the opponent killed the 3 plagues by strength. He respects his opponent. Sakazuki has cultivated a strong man like Lucas, and I would like to fight him openly. Kaido said, continuing to drink. Yes, that's right. The snake nodded quickly, and what you say is what you say. He still doesn't know what kind of person Kaido is. Anyway, he would just leave it to Orochi. Kaido just went to Sakazuki to try. Kaido is still the person who respects the strong, and the sinister and cunning villain is his big snake. Who can't let him beat Kaido? Kaido looked at his men. I will select the new 3 plagues and flying 6 cells as soon as possible, and then I will go to the G5 Marine branch. Clear. A few days later, Lucas came to the shore of Marineford. Advertisement. A warship was docked on the shore, and Akin got off the ship and came to him. Listening to Akin's report, Lucas looked at the warship. On the entire warship, doctors were standing densely. Fortunately, they were dressed in casual clothes, otherwise they would really be all white coats. Welcome everyone to Marineford, the headquarters of Marineford. Lucas reached out to an old man in front of the visitor. The old man hurriedly held his hand, tears filled his eyes and wept. They were driven out of their hometown by their own king, but they were picked up by Marine, which they rejected at the beginning, and spared a wave of suffering. Thank you so much, old man, I am willing to be your most loyal subordinate forever. The old man knelt down to Lucas. He has only felt how much since he saw the king's men shot the doctor and the king's men whipped the doctor. Fear. It doesn't matter if he is dead, but his students and friends are all the best doctors in Drum Country. Each of these people has a lot of precious medical knowledge and experience in their minds. Their medical skills in the Drum Country were almost ruined by Wapple's idea. The old man get up quickly. Lucas quickly picked up the old man, who was the oldest of these doctors. Lucas looked at the doctor on this ship, thinking about what Akin had said before, and it was a happy flower. The doctors here are already a large part of the group of doctors in the Drum Country. It can be said that 99% of the legacy of the Drum Country was taken over by them. He wants to allow his faction to continue to expand in Marine, improve his voice and control. That's more than just letting yourself have a large number of main combat forces. Although war in this kind of world, a strong force can play a big role, but there are always people injured in the war. Doctors are also an extremely important group for a power. In short, the doctor is very important. There are many things in an organization, and many people are needed. Navigators, doctors, cooks, boat craftsmen. There are many things that need to be done, not everything can be opened by one person. Lucas took the doctors, and personally took the old doctors with the highest medical skills, so that they could be ship doctors on his ship in the future. The other doctors, led by Lucas, took them to register. There are so many doctors, it is impossible for him to take everyone by his side. Advertisement. In the future, these people will be assigned to other marine warships as a medic. But Lucas had long been eyeing the doctors in Drum Country, and now he is busy abducting them. These are the most excellent doctors in the world. How could he let others pick peaches? I have already told the upper level, and you will be assigned to work on other warships. You can let your family live in the residential area of Marineford, and you can live in the small town of your respective marine base in the future. Lucas, after speaking to the doctors around him, let Agent take them to rest. Many of Lucas's old men have left him and have their own warships. And these doctors will be assigned to the warships of his old men. The old subordinates are not just Monet and Akin, they still have enough posts. Everyone next, what are your plans next? Lucas looked at the remaining dozen people. These people are still hesitating and have not yet decided whether to join Marine. They are different from those before. They left Drum Country because they were afraid of death, and now they don't want to become Marine. After all, the military doctors must follow Marine. Although military doctors are generally protected, they are inherently more dangerous than ordinary doctors. We want to continue to be doctors and treat patients, but we feel at a loss and don't know where to go. The headed young doctor looked at Lucas embarrassedly. The other party rescued them, but they still didn't want to join Marine because of their timidity. It's okay, it's a little money that can let you live for a few days. I have a suggestion. How about opening a small hospital in the living area of Marineford? Lucas said, passing a small bag of Bailey to the young doctor's hand. The young doctor looked at his companion hesitantly. Marine headquarters Marineford has many excellent Marines in the world, so it should be safe. Said a younger doctor. The doctors nodded in agreement. Well, we decided to build a small hospital here. The doctor in charge and his companions discussed it and said to Lucas back. They left the magnetic Drum Country in a hurry. After all, the streets were full of soldiers with guns chasing doctors, and from time to time they fired 2 shots into the sky. This group of doctors was very scared. This is the initial fund I personally provided to you. A small hospital can count as an investment of mine. Moreover, I have a small matter. I don't know if you can help. Lucas handed a large sum of money to it. Said the headed doctor. Please tell me. Chapter 208,206. Golden Lion Kaido besieged Sakazuki. For subscription. For reward. For monthly pass. Advertisement. After half a month, Marineford's residential area. There was a new small hospital here, and Lucas became a shareholder of the hospital. After all, he paid the money. A few blocks away from the Marineford hospital, there is a welfare home. This is also driven by Lucas, and it is here to take in orphans picked up by Marine during the mission. Pirates were rampant in the era of big pirates. The most indispensable thing in this world is the wandering children. Lucas's reputation is in Marine, as well as in the ears of civilians in the nearby sea, and that is really getting better and better. First met the Marine of Marineford and the civilians in the nearby waters, and none of them didn't say he was good. The doctors in the hospital often go to various islands to see the doctor for free for ordinary people on the advice of Lucas. And the orphanage also does not refuse to come, as long as it is homeless vagrants, they are willing to take in. The orphanage takes care of the lives of those children, teaches them to write, and transmits to them correct Lucas values. Lucas has always put all the money taken from the fight against pirates into hospitals and orphanages. Although he did this with a purpose, it is undeniable that more and more Marines really adore him, and many young people who participate in Marine also come to him. A good personality is very popular everywhere. Lucas walked in the orphanage and called out the child inside. A large group of children ran out and came to the yard. Originally, there were only doctors, the woman caring for the children, and Lucas in the yard. As a result, it was directly crowded with a large number of children. It looks like it's time to expand. Lucas smiled with satisfaction, and the children watching the orphanage were simply watching their future subordinates. Hurry up, kids, and start the physical examination. The doctor beckoned. The children lined up one by one. The children admitted here come from all over the world, and some have been strayed for too long, and some problems are unavoidable. Lucas asked the doctor in the hospital to help them. 2 months later, Lucas still leads a boring life, sitting in the office, listening to Aang's report. This month, 5 Marines developed observation hockey, 3 Marines developed armament hockey, and 1 Marine developed seeing and hearing color, armament hockey, and 1 Marine got a devil fruit unintentionally and became zone capable. Aang stood not far from Lucas, reporting the situation of the men in Lucas Marineford one by one. Lucas nodded numbly, listening too much, numb. Now he wants to become a lot of Marines under his command. The competition is fierce. Some guys are outrageously unable to become Lucas's subordinates, so they want to be transferred to Lucas's as subordinates. He really gathered a lot of excellent Marines from Marineford, one is better than the other, this is really due to his strong performance in recent years, and the establishment of the hospital and the orphanage. Advertisement. Blue Brew. The phone worm rang, and Lucas picked up the handset and waved Aang to go out first. After a while, Lucas walked out of the office and glanced at Aang. You go and urge those guys to train, I have something to do. Clear. Aang turned and left. Lucas came all the way to Sengoku Admiral's office. Please come in. Lucas heard Sengoku's voice, opened the door, and walked in. Garp was also in the room at this time. Kuzan is eating senbei next to Garp. I have a piece of bad news to tell you, Sengoku said, looking at Lucas. Sakazuki was besieged by Kaido and Golden Lion. What? Lucas looked at Sengoku in shock, his heart beating faster. Just about to ask about Sakazuki's situation, Sengoku waved his hand. Poor Salino arrived in time, and the two of them worked together to solve the problem. Lucas was relieved and sat aside under Sengoku's signal. Next, he listened to Sengoku telling him. Kaido and Golden Lion suddenly bestie Sakazuki one day for some reason. After receiving the news, Pelusalino hurried over and continued to transfer from the Play Ape to the Fire Brigade captain. Poor Salino kicked the rudder on the back of the Golden Lion's forehead. Although he was interested in paddling, the Golden Lion did not withstand it after all. The old guy went down on the spot, and his ability was immediately lifted. Many islands fell in the sky, slamming on the sea. Indigo, the deputy of Golden Lion, caught Golden Lion who had fallen into a coma for the first time. Pelusalino and Sakazuki began to bestie Kaido and beat Kaido away. Sakazuki was also discounted on one arm, and hit when he was besieged. Advertisement. It is said that Golden Lion was rescued when Pelusalino and Sakazuki besieged Kaido. But afterwards, it was rumored that the Golden Lion was in danger of life, and the strong man who survived with his head stuck in the rudder still did not wake up. According to information, Golden Lion was kicked by Pelusalino and became a vegetable directly. Sengoku said. Garp grabbed Senbei's hand and Kuzan fell silent. Lucas almost couldn't help laughing. It seems that among the disabled group of the old age, the Golden Lion has won the match. It's okay to be a vegetable. But in fact, it's okay, Golden Lion lives in a dream of eternal ambition anyway. Rather than being unjustly defeated by the protagonist's halo. Sakazuki's arm was severely injured, and his strength is estimated to be affected. Sengoku sighed and placed the report in front of Lucas. Lucas couldn't laugh anymore, looking at the doctor's treatment report. The flexibility of Sakazuki's severely injured arm is much worse than before, so physical surgery will be affected. Although Sakazuki's fruit ability is extremely powerful, he was badly injured, and Lucas inevitably felt a little uncomfortable. Golden Lion. Kuzan added. Where is the Golden Lion? I don't know, no one knows where Indigo took him to hide. The atmosphere cooled down for a while. Lucas held the report tightly in his hand, repeating the names of Golden Lion, Shiki and Kaido in his heart. He didn't care why the two men came together, why they had to deal with Sakazuki. He will keep getting stronger, and then kill these two guys. Golden Lion vegetative, that would have to strangle him. Don't talk about being vegetative, even if Golden Lion goes crazy after waking up, he will kill the opponent. Don't be impulsive, the most important thing for you is to make yourself stronger. Garp looked at Lucas and said helplessly. Understood. Lucas nodded, his eyes fixed on the two rewards on the table. 1 year soon passed, and the time came to 1513. A warship was docked on the shore of Marineford, and Zephyr was standing on the warship, watching his students. Chapter 209,207. Golden Lion Shiki is crazy. For subscription. For monthly pass. For reward. Advertisement. Lucas was sitting on Zephyr's boat at this time, looking at these young Marines. Well, he is actually not that old. Why do you think of going out to sea with my trainee ship? Zephyr looked at Lucas helplessly, not knowing what to say. I want to pick a few good Marines. Lucas said with a smile while sitting next to Zephyr. These days, although Lucas is in Marineford, he has always been in a state of crazy training. Get up and exercise in the morning after breakfast, and continue to exercise until the evening after lunch. When there is no rest in a day, I have been training myself. All the miscellaneous things were handed over to Aang and Bins, and they were crazy training. At this time, his physical strength was already several times more than before. Devil fruit needs physical strength, and physical strength is the most important thing. And Lucas has also practiced the armed color stronger, seeing and hearing the color without increasing the state, can perceive the range of an island. Sakazuki had a problem with one of his arms, and he couldn't fight flexibly. Lucas didn't want to have this problem with someone close to him, so he came to Zephyr's ship. It was probably this year that Zephyr was leading the students to see when the trainee ship was attacked by pirates. Zephyr's students were slaughtered by pirates, and his arm was severely injured. Zephyr had also instructed Lucas before, and Zephyr's students Ain and Binz were his subordinates. Lucas didn't want Zephyr to end up like the original. His arm was severely injured, he had asthma, his strength was greatly reduced, and Zephyr was so crazy that he was mentally distorted to destroy the new world to kill the pirates. The ending Zephyr was too unacceptable. The warship slowly left the port and headed towards the sea. Ain and Binz stood in the distance, chatting with their students who were under Zephyr at the same time. Many young Marines have a look at Lucas from time to time. For this Vice Admiral, they really want to get close. The warship carried these young Marines all the way to New World, took them with them and personally battled with the pirates. They went to sea for nearly a month. In addition to training, Lucas Tenton rested and regained his strength in case a pirate attacked. Dealing with Kaiji pirates is only left to those young Marines. Sitting on the railing, Lucas handed the phone worm to Ain, looking at the sea incomprehensibly. When did Zephyr's training ship be attacked by pirates? Advertisement. Why this has been a month, the pirates they encountered are so weak, and there are still very few pirates. So, who is the real culprit who was seriously injured by Vice Admiral Zephyr in the original history? What's the matter? Did you pick a good person? Zephyr walked up with a smile and looked at the junior with a smile. No, it will take a while. Lucas shook his head and looked at the sea in distress. Are they dissatisfied with you? Zephyr said with a wry smile. This kid won't have too many outstanding subordinates. He can't look down on his students anymore, right? Zephyr's students are all over Marine, and this kid even dislikes his students. No, Lucas shook his head dumbly. In fact, many of Zephyr's students are very good. He is actually waiting for the guy to attack Zephyr. At noon, in the warship cafeteria, Lucas sat opposite Zephyr, Ain and Binz to the left and right, and two young Marines at this table. These two young Marines are the best students in Zephyr's class, except for Ain and Binz. However, at this time the two men took a peek at Lucas from time to time, and their hearts were filled with anxiety. It's scary to have a table with the boss. Especially the other person may be his immediate boss in the future, which is even more frightening. Lucas glanced at the two trembling, Mengxian, and he laughed helplessly. The guy who attacked Zephyr can hurt Zephyr. It's impossible to be afraid of him, right? Rumble. Suddenly there was a deafening noise outside, and Lucas hurriedly turned on his knowledge and sensed the situation outside. He picked up the knife leaning on the table and ran out directly. Zephyr was one step ahead of him, while Ain and Binz followed. There was an exclamation outside, and Zephyr students in the cafeteria rushed out one after another. Lucas stood on the deck, looking at the desert island not far from their warship. The whole deserted island was smashed by an upside-down island, the ground was cracked, and a man with a bald forehead and a messy blonde hair draped behind his back was covered in torn clothes, all wet. He stood on top of the upside-down island, replaced his feet with two swords attached to his feet, and ran around the island constantly. Oh, I am a gorilla. Quote. Advertisement. Lucas looked at the man with a weird face, holding his hand on the handle of the knife. Golden Lion Shiki. With some bloodline stained on Golden Lion's face, he stopped suddenly and looked at the warship in the distance. This guy floated over crazy and crazy. Okay, so terrifying. Ain and Binz looked at the islands pressed together in amazement. Is this the strength of Golden Lion? The Golden Lion floated not far from the warship, asking them who he was, and from time to time he said crazy things that the language organization was messy. This guy is really crazy. Poor Salino's kick directly kicked the rudder unsteadily, and the rudder behind it separated from Golden Lion's head. Golden Lion's head was definitely damaged. Although his powerful life allowed him to survive again, his brain was really hopeless. Indigo used to complain about the Golden Lion, how many orangutan genes, but now the Golden Lion is really inferior to the orangutan's IQ. Golden Lion showed his back from time to time, and Lucas saw the hole behind the opponent's head. To be honest, the vitality of the people in the One Piece world is outrageous. You have been staring at me for so long, you must know who I am. Golden Lion came to Lucas and asked happily. Quote. Lucas didn't say a word, and directly slashed at Golden Lion with his knife. Damn it, you don't speak, you don't tell me who it is. Golden Lion stared at Lucas in irritation, then burst into tears again, squeezing his fist and hitting him. The upside-down island not far away moved and smashed towards Lucas quickly. Lucas stepped on the moonwalk, came into the air, and slashed out with a huge slashing wave, directly dividing the island into two. Boom boom. The island turned into two halves plunged into the sea, causing huge waves. For some reason, Golden Lion started crying and laughing crazily in the air. Did you kill your deputy? Lucas asked while swinging his knife away. Puff puff shoo man. Golden Lion scratched his hair and thought for a while. You mean him? He didn't say a word, I killed him. Quote. Lucas sneered and swung several chopped waves. Golden Lion deserves to be you, he is still so ruthless when he is crazy, even killing his savior. Chapter 210,208. Golden Lion Death. Advertisement. Several huge chopping waves rushed towards the Golden Lion, and the Golden Lion kicked directly with both legs, and several slash waves flew out, blocking Lucas's attacks one by one. Although Golden Lion is completely crazy, the fighting instinct is still there, and he can use his previous abilities subconsciously. Zephyr stood at the bow of the warship, took his students, and let them watch the battle between Lucas and Golden Lion. These days, although the students have actual combat experience, they are only dealing with some relatively weak pirates. Although the students Tenten are looking forward to dealing with the stronger pirates, many of them are inevitably overly proud. Zephyr wants these young Marines to know what is really strong among the younger generation. Compared with those monster-like geniuses, these young men are just slightly better Marines. There are all kinds of monsters in this world. Some of them have monster-like talents, some have enviable opportunities, and some rely on day-to-day hard training to become hard-working physique experts. And some people combine these advantages in one. The Golden Lion was crazy, speaking some crazy words from time to time, but while in the air, he directly raised the island that was divided by Lucas in two, and directly used the two halves of the island as a weapon to draw towards Lucas. Boom boom. The two mountains flanked at Lucas, who had already dashed away on the moonwalk, leaving the Golden Lion surrounded. Good. Terrible way to fight. A young Marine looked at the two fighting in the sky in shock. Lucas continuously slashed dozens of huge chopping waves against the Golden Lion. The Golden Lion's legs shook quickly, and he used Lion, Thousand Slice Valley, and one after another chopping waves hit. The chopping waves of these two people each had the terrifying power to cut through the mountains, and the chopping waves blasted together, making a deafening noise in the air. Can we reach this level in this life? A Marine watched the battle full of self-doubt. It won't be possible in the next life. Another Marine shook his head. He felt like he was watching gods fight. Golden Lion shot a Yamamoto is enough, but Lucas and Golden Lion's current power of chopping waves makes them feel incredible. Don't be presumptuous, you work hard, maybe you can live a few more decades. Binz laughed and teased. Quote. The young Marines looked at Binz bitterly, too much. This is the same as when passerby first climbed onto his wife at night and was finished, and then his wife said that he was a 3-second man by the way and teased him. Advertisement. Everyone wanted to play Binz very much. Zephyr looked at the sky, he was confident in Lucas. The Golden Lion is crazy and his mind is not clear. Although the fighting instinct still remains in the body, after going crazy, the opponent's strength is far inferior to the previous one. Because Golden Lion can't exert all the strengths when he is awake. As for Lucas, his current physical strength has long since been exercising frantically, and it has become several times more than before. Lucas's strength is also much stronger than before, and it is much simpler to deal with a lunatic with an unconscious mind. But because of this much simpler battle, in the eyes of the young Marines on the warship, they were all fights of gods. The island originally controlled by Golden Lion had been torn apart by the battle between Lucas and Golden Lion. Golden Lion completely forgot to continue using external force, and the two swords on both feet slashed directly at Lucas. Chang chang. Lucas collided with Golden Lion's sword and sparked sparks, and the two quickly backed away. Your deputy rescued you, but you killed him. Golden Lion, your character is really outrageous. Lucas said, quickly rushed behind Golden Lion and slashed him up. Golden Lion turned around and quickly blocked Lucas's attack. He looked at Lucas excitedly. Who is my deputy? It's the person you killed him. Lucas disappeared instantly, dodging the Golden Lion's sword, and then slashed away. Impossible. Golden Lion kept shaking his head. I don't know anyone who saved me, you are lying to me. The Golden Lion kept launching frantic attacks on Lucas, yelling and asking who he really was. From time to time, there was intense pain in his head, and Golden Lion continued to endure the pain. The two fought over the island from the sea, and they kept approaching the warship from over the island. The Golden Lion was gradually beaten back by Lucas, and the blonde hair draped behind him was continuously cut off while avoiding. A large number of finely shredded blonde hair was scattered, drifting to the sea with the gentle sea breeze. Lucas rushed up quickly, avoiding all Golden Lion's attacks, and piercing Golden Lion's heart with a single knife. Advertisement. The Golden Lion's brain was inserted by the rudder for a while, and no one died. Later, he was seriously injured and not dead. Regarding the vitality of some powerful people in One Piece world, he was really convinced. So to be on the safe side, the knife in Lucas's hand stirred the Golden Lion's heart a few times very quickly, then speeded up and retreated to the back. The Golden Lion's body quickly fell towards the sea, slammed on the sea surface, splashing waves, and after a while, the blood stained the sea surface. Lucas sighed. Although he had avenged his revenge, Golden Lion was in a crazy state. Killing Golden Lion did not tell how much progress he had made in recent days. Following the moonwalk, Lucas waved to the people on the warship, who fell back to the deck. At this time, these young Marines looked at Lucas in their eyes, one by one, they were extremely excited, and they looked forward to being under such an officer. Having seen each other's shots in person, they certainly liked the boss better. The soldier is bigger than his fist. The trainee ship continued to wander the new world for 3 months, but Lucas was speechless. The pirate who attempted to attack Zephyr in the original book still did not appear. This makes him wonder, who is this in the end? Is it really necessary for him to inspect Marine for a year on the practice boat? There was a drizzle in the sky was covered with dark clouds, and the time came to night. Lucas and Zephyr, Al-Ain and Binz were sitting at a table, drinking hot coffee and eating. This month they encountered 10 pirate groups in total, and 5 of them were rookie pirate groups. The pirates who had just arrived in New World were directly sold by the young Marines. As for the other pirates, the Marines spent a little time either killing or catching them. So, no one really attacked Zephyr. Lucas thought helplessly. But if this is the case, that would be a good thing. The Fishmen Island, in the sea water outside the bubbles that envelop the entire huge The Fishmen Island. A pirate ship sailed out slowly. Chapter 211209. Daz Bonus and Lafitte. Advertisement. The pirate ship was far away from the Fishmen Island and sailed towards the surface of New World. Soon after, the entrance of New World, a pirate ship rushed out of the sea, and a marine fleet appeared not far away. Faced with these people, the captain yelled, and the pirates quickly turned the bow of the ship and quickly fled the scene. On the marine fleet, Stallo Berry looked at the escaped pirate and hammered the ship's rail with chagrin. He was transferred to New World, but, although New World Marine fought against pirates, he had achieved great success. The G5 branch led many other branches of Marine and eliminated a large number of New World pirates. It gave New World Marine a good reputation, but to be honest, most of it is due to Lucas's own strength, Lucas's buggy bombs, and Lucas's outstanding subordinates. War cannot be fought well with a large number of people. Many pirates in New World are extremely afraid of Lucas, and for other Marines, those guys either rushed directly to the battle, or simply didn't bother to adjust the bow and slip away. New World, somewhere in the sea. A pirate ship sails on the sea, and Daz Bonus sits in the bow, thinking of the scene when Lucas defeated him. Too strong. Someone surrounded us, Lafitte said with a smile while holding a cane, turning a few circles in his hand. Yeah, Daz Bonus stood up, his arms turned into sharp blades, and stared at a ship on the opposite side against the cold light. At this moment, a total of 10 pirate ships surrounded them. We are from the Quick/Pirate group, on the opposite side, hurry up and put down the weapons, and we will give you a chance to join us. On the opposite side of the pirate ship, a man with red curly hair laughed and said. The name is really good, Lafitte exclaimed, and glanced at Daz Bonus. Daz Bonus is a quick-cut fruit-capable person, any part of his body can be turned into an extremely sharp blade to fight against the enemy. On their way, they came to New World from the first half of the Grand Line, no matter which island they met, all the enemies they met were killed by Daz Bonus. Advertisement. Even the slashing wave slashed by the enemy swordsman slashed on Daz Bonus' body, and could not hurt Daz Bonus. It turns out that at Sabayati Archipelago, Daz Bonus and his Lafitte killed those so-called supernovas by the media. It can only be said that the supernova of that session is a real pullover. Daz Bonus and Lafitte were blown up by the media at the time for several days. And this New World small pirate ship group even hit their name, and tried to absorb them into the other party's ship group. Lafitte took out some information and rewards he had collected, looked at the opposite side, and recognized a few people. Several swordsmen who think they are very strong, give it to you or me. Lafitte looked at Daz Bonus excitedly. Leave it to me, Daz Bonus said, and the man jumped up and onto the opposite boat. Hands, Lafitte said, spreading a pair of wings directly behind his body, fluttered by feathers, and quickly flew to a pirate ship next to him. Kill, grab their boat. The pirates roared excitedly, threw the hook rope directly onto the other pirate boats, raised their long knives, and rushed over. On the current ship of Daz Bonus, many people are killers, and some of them were found by Lafitte. They all have one characteristic, that is, they are not really pirates at all. Some pirates value their traditions, and the pirate flag and the pirate ship are their souls. And this group of pirates didn't care about whether their ship would sink or not when they started fighting, they rushed directly to the opposite ship, and the opposite was a slaughter. They kill people more ruthlessly than pirates, their methods are more cruel, and they cooperate more tacitly. As soon as this group of people arrived on a pirate ship, their ship was sunk by the artillery of a pirate ship in the distance, but at this moment, they had launched a one-sided massacre of the pirates on the ship. All of them used the killer's killing ability, completely suppressing the pirates on the opposite side. These people captured a ship at the fastest speed, and directly used these people's artillery to quickly blast a round of shells at the enemy pirate ship. After the explosion, they directly hooked the hook to another hostile pirate ship and rushed again. Past. Daz Bonus came to the main ship, his head tilted slightly to avoid a bullet. He learned the concept of hockey from a kin, had already learned the two-color hockey, and handed hockey to his killer. Advertisement. The right hand turned into a sharp blade to penetrate the body of a pirate accurately, and then the left hand turned into a sharp blade with an armed color, slashed the enemy pirate captain's long knife with one blow, and pierced the opponent's chest. Daz Bonus is exactly like a wolf rushing into the flock, constantly penetrating the bodies of the pirates. Bang bang bang. Swordsmen fell one after another. Daz Bonus swung his limbs, elbows, knees, and his entire body could be transformed into weapons, completely frightening the pirates on this ship. Some of them have armed colors, but Daz Bonus's armed colors and strength are simply too strong. When a bullet hit Daz Bonus' chest and was blocked by Daz Bonus. The pirate's neck with a spear in his hand was directly pierced by Daz Bonus. The pirate made a ho 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 in his throat, his head tilted and he died. Daz Bonus looked at the people on the pirate ship that had been destroyed by his own regiment, then picked up a hook rope on the deck, twisted it a few times, and threw it onto a pirate ship that was farther away. Lafitte stood in front of a gunner at this time, waving his cane to hypnosis the gunner. The people on the pirate ship shot at him one after another. Lafitte flew up, then dodged bullets and fell into the crowd. The sticks were separated, a rapier was drawn out, and the sword pierced to see directly. The heart of a thief. The pirates waved their knives one after another. Lafitte was in the crowd, avoiding a personal slash between his footsteps, and the sword in his hand quickly protruded, red blood flowers flying, one pirate fell to the ground and died. Lafitte is exactly like a dancer dancing between beasts, and every time he turns his body, a blood flower is brought up. This small pirate ship group is obviously the kind of poor existence in New World. They only spent some time, and lost some manpower slightly, and then annihilated the main force of the pirate group, leaving behind a small number of prisoners. Captain, what do you do? A pirate came to Dazzle Bonus and asked. Daz Bonus didn't look at those people at all. Kill, Lafitte said coldly. Chapter 212,210. The sky is so cute. Advertisement. New World, on an uninhabited island. Daz Bonus and Lafitte were sitting on the shore, eating food, and beside them, several huge beasts fell to the ground. This is the prey hunted by them. Captain, where are we going next? A pirate held the roasted beast's tail and gnawed at it. Challenge Kaido. Daz Bonus said coldly. Lafitte also didn't respond much, but the pirates who were gnawing at the meat were bewildered by it. Kaido. The pirates took a breath. That terrible pirate. Why, are you afraid? Lafitte smiled at the pirates and took a sip of wine. If you are afraid, we will leave now. We will not stop you. The pirates looked at each other one by one. There were indeed many people who wanted to leave, but no one dared. Daz Bonus is an excellent bounty hunter for West Blue, and occasionally makes a cameo as a killer. Whether it is West Blue's bounty hunter, killer, or pirate, most people are still very afraid of him. Daz Bonus, body can be turned into a blade, killing people without blinking, and they have personally seen each other cut a building into several halves. Lafitte's bad name is not bad either. This guy likes violent law enforcement. With a pale face, Lafitte's favorite violent pirates scream and scream constantly. This guy can also happily come on a episode, tap dance. Hypnosis technique, and the strength that can crush them. These pirates really didn't have the guts to leave. Who can tell if they just left with their front feet? Will Lafitte, please, them behind? What is that? A pirate pointed to the sky in shock, and a shadow in the sky gradually grew larger and quickly fell towards the ground. Guy. Before the pirate had finished speaking, everyone around him quickly avoided. The poor pirate was hit by the guy who fell from the sky in an instant, and he didn't even make a muffled noise. The beach was smashed into a big hole. Kaido was lying in the hole. Two shadows reflected on Kaido's body. Daz Bonus and Lafitte were standing on the edge of the sandpit, one of their arms turned into blades, and the other holding a cane tightly, looking at Kaido expectantly. Compared with these two daring guys, most of the pirates stood behind and did not dare to take a step forward. You want to challenge me? Kaido stood up and looked at the wine on the ground outside the sandpit, his eyes lit up. Advertisement. Yes. Daz Bonus looked at Kaido nervously. It's just that Kaido didn't even look at other people. He stretched out his hand to grab the wine, and started to pour it out. Lafitte was silent. He finally knew why Kaido had suddenly fallen, this old drunkard. Kaido drank the wine, looked at Daz Bonus and Lafitte, and shouted angrily, as if the same powerful aura spread out, Conqueror's Haki used it. Puff, puff, puff. Daz Bonus and the pirates behind Lafitte fell one after another, while Daz Bonus and Lafitte got used to it for a while and stood up straight again. Kaido looked at the two and nodded. They barely made it. He picked up his iron rod and hit Daz Bonus. With a blow, Daz Bonus was knocked down and flew out. Although he had the defense of slashing the man, which made himself as hard as steel, he was still knocked off by Kaido. Kaido turned to look at Lafitte and swiped it. Lafitte put away his cane and spread out a pair of wings behind his back, and he quickly flew up to the sky to avoid Kaido's attack. He used hypnosis on Kaido just now, but it didn't surprise him. He didn't succeed in hypnosis Kaido. But as expected to be Lafitte, facing Kaido's attack, he was still not afraid or showing discoloration. The whole person flew in the air, calmly thinking about how to delay it longer. Kaido turned into a huge blue dragon and slammed directly into Lafitte. A series of terrorist slashes slashed on Kaido's azure dragon's body, but surprisingly, it just made Kaido's body rush forward without causing any harm. Lafitte drew the rapier from his cane and slashed it directly at Kaido. What a strong defense! Lafitte exclaimed. Kaido looked at Lafitte and Daz Bonus, then waved his tail and swept away at them. Daz Bonus rushed in front of Lafitte, his body covered with armed color, and at the same time he put his body in a pose, the body became as hard as steel. Armed color combined with his slasher and blocked this attack for Lafitte. Lafitte glanced at Daz Bonus. Although the two came together, they were forced to helplessly. Advertisement. But Daz Bonus helped him take note of this time. Daz Bonus was hit by Kaido back again and again, gritted his teeth and barely accepted Kaido's attack. Kaido looked at these two people. Many of his men died. If these two people join his pirate group, he should be able to save a lot of worry. I said before that I will find new 3 plagues and flying 6 powers before I can deal with Sakazuki. But there is no way that it is obviously not so easy to find new suitable 3 plagues and flying 6 cells. Daz Bonus crossed his arms in front of him and slashed several attacks against Kaido. Kaido stepped forward, and the beach was cut directly out of a large number of gullies. You are very good, I admire you. Kaido said with a smile, but the attack on his hand did not fall. He rounded his weapon, and hit the two directly. Daz Bonus and Lafitte only heard the name of the move, and then the two were beaten into the air. They were directly beaten to break the big trees and fainted. After a while, the pirates on the beach woke up one after another, looking at Kaido, who was sitting not far away, drinking wine in horror. They looked at the situation on the sand pond next to them, and their expressions were stagnant. There was a big battle just now, and depending on the situation, Daz Bonus and Lafitte are not Kaido's opponents at all. Kaido didn't even look at these people, drank the wine, and walked straight to the forest to come to where Dazzle Bonus was lying. Daz Bonus woke up leisurely and looked at Kaido sitting in front of him, feeling uneasy for a long time. How strong is this Kaido? Although the opponent was only testing their strength a little bit before, Daz Bonus wants to know the power of the opponent's last move. Can Lucas do it? Kaido then came to Lafitte's face. At this moment, even though Lafitte was injured, she still tapped and danced excitedly to watch Kaido. You two are good, become my subordinates. Kaido said with a smile. It's just that he was drunk and crazy, and now he can get two pretty good pirates. Kaido thinks it's worth it. Daz Pony wondered if he wanted to pretend to be hesitant, it might be more real. But Lafitte didn't hesitate at all and took the lead in surrendering to Kaido. Chapter 213,211. Select the new 3 plagues. Advertisement. Regarding Kaido, Lafitte thought about it for a long time, but he still felt that he should just agree to the invitation of such a strong man. Daz Bonus also expressed his willingness to join Kaido's command. Kaido was very interested and took Daz Bonus and Lafitte directly to Wano Kuni. Daz Bonus and Lafitte, at someone's signal, successfully joined Kaido's pirates. Beast's pirates, the strongest person is Kaido, followed by the big sign below, which is the 3 plagues. The big billboard originally referred to those neon drama actors with superb artistic level and famous reputation. Beast's pirates is the strongest trio under Kaido. The original 3 big Kanbans died of Lucas knife. Until now, Kaido has not found a suitable candidate. It's really because the flying hexapods below have died too much. The original plan was to recruit 6 flying hexapods, but before, 4 were recruited, and 3 died. Only 1 was recruited recently, and now there are only 1 left. 2 flying hexapods. Is it possible to let the remaining 2 fight? There is still a large signboard empty. Doflamingo has already been arrested. Once Doflamingo, who knows the secret of celestial dragons, goes to prison, it is impossible for celestial dragons to let the other party out of prison. Kaido was unable to cooperate with Doflamingo, and Gaiza is still a scientist in the marine team. Beast's Pirates has no artificial devil fruit at all, and there is no team composed of artificial demon fruit power. It is obviously not so easy to find enough suitable people from below. Kaido was sitting on Daz Bonus' boat, drinking wine, thinking about what place to give Daz Bonus and Lafitte. The 2 men's subordinates are indeed good, but that's all, far from Kaido's heartbeat. I also have 2 good subordinates. After I go back, you can talk more, Kaido said. Kaido really appreciates the 2 of them, their strength is good, and the other's courage is indeed extraordinary. Especially Lafitte, this guy hasn't been shy from beginning to end. Lafitte turned his cane in his hand and smiled excitedly, expressing his expectation. A few days later, Wano Kuni. Kaido took Daz Bonus and them back to Wano Kuni through a secret passage. Advertisement. Daz Bonus looked at the secret passage behind him, and knew clearly. Following Kaido to the Ghost Island all the way, Kaido let them meet the Foz Fur and Black Maria. Foz Ford, this person is a saber-toothed tiger, former member of world government CP9, who claims to be shoulder to shoulder with the genius Rob Lucci. Not long ago, he successfully escaped from prison and became one of the Beast's pirates. Although Foz Ford has only been here for a short time, he is ambitious and has begun to covet the position of the big board. And now that all 3 big billboards are dead, Foz is now most looking forward to the new big billboard selected by the competition. Looking at the Daz Bonus and Lafitte brought by Kaido, Foz Ford recalled the information of the 2 in his mind. One is West Blue's bounty hunter, capable of cutting fruit quickly. The other is the Devil Sheriff, who has the hypnosis ability, and the opponent is a capable person, who can stretch out his wings and fly into the sky. Lafitte's swordsmanship is also great, and he also uses a gun. Most importantly, since the 2 entered the Grand Line for a while, they have developed armament hockey and observation hockey. Foz Ford observed the 2 and nodded to them. There seems to be a competitor. A tall sexy woman with a long blonde hair and Katsuyama bun sat not far away, looking at the 2 brought by Kaido. Lafitte also observed these 2 people at this time. This beauty has long red horns on her head, earrings with pearl earrings, a bun with a knife, white and tender shoulders in a kimono, and white thongs and sandals. This woman is indeed beautiful, but Lafitte's instinct tells him that this woman is very dangerous. Well, in fact, with the other's height of over 8 meters, even if Lucas came, he couldn't be interested. Toothpicks stir the big tank, whoever falls in love with whom. On the second day, Ghost Island and Wano Kuni announced something. Daz Bonus and Lafitte joined Beast's Pirates and became the second of the Flying 6. Kaido is ready to let his people conduct a large-scale competition, and select the most powerful ones to become the new Phase 6. Everyone in the Fei Lubao will conduct a competition to select 3 new big billboards. Advertisement. New world, above the sea. A small boat sailed slowly on the sea. Holding a rose-red parasol in her hand, Perona, with her pink double ponytail, rests her head on the soft kumasi cloth. She holds a cup of coffee in her hand and blows a sip. She didn't know who killed Moriyasama, but after Moriyasama's life card burned out, she dumped the guy who was in the way overnight and left West Blue alone. Perona vowed that she would catch the B************** D who killed Moriyasama, and then let him kneel and kowtow to Moriyasama's grave. Well, she didn't find Moriyasama's body, so she had to make a burial mound in West Blue in a hurry. The pirates on the boat looked at Perona in fear, busying themselves with their own affairs one by one. Originally, this group of pirates was a rookie pirate group who came to the Grand Line from South Blue, but they met the single Perona at Cape Gemini. Seeing this little girl so cute and moving, these animals have bad thoughts and want to reproduce. Word is big, bear with it. Result. Perona directly let the group of guys kneel down for her on the spot. If you don't hold your hands on the floor and your head doesn't lower your head, it's basically a New Year greeting in advance. Perona let these guys be her temporary staff and prepared 3 meals a day for her by the way. These days, a pirate wanted to drug the girl, but the ghost that emerged from the wooden wall passed through the body and knelt to reflect on the spot. There were also some people who dissatisfied Perona, until they met the enemy pirates, and Perona's ghost bomb blew those people into the air. These people finally became honest. Both physically and metaphysically, they couldn't beat this little girl with 2 ponytails. Where is the front? Perona asked behind her without looking up. The island not far away will take a rest for a day, and further on will be the nations. The navigator quickly replied. I heard that there are a lot of delicious foods in all nations. Perona raised her head excitedly and turned to look behind her. Yes, but it is the site of Bigmom, we should be more careful. The navigator reminded. Quote. Perona nodded, looking ahead excitedly. She has an idea, I don't know if it can be realized there. Chapter 214,212. Discovery of Katakuri. Advertisement. Lucas walked on a small island, followed by Ain and Bins. 7 or 8 Zephyr students followed behind them. This is just an ordinary island, just a little closer to the nations of nations. Originally, he just took Ain and Bins to the island, looking for a restaurant to ask them to have a meal. As a result, a group of Zephyr students insisted on following. Lucas also followed after eating, not very happy. As a result, dozens of Zephyr students were left with only 7 or 8. As Lucas walked on the road, he had an impression of the Zephyr students behind him. These people are a relatively good group of people in this class. Let's go, here I will invite you to dinner. Lucas said with a smile standing at the door of a restaurant. Entering the restaurant and ordering some food, Lucas and the others sat at a table by the window. Seeing the flow of people outside the window, Lucas sighed inwardly. He used to rob. Ah no, he used to capture pirates and got a lot of treasures, but when the money was really used, he realized that the money was like flowing water. Although his money is used in hospitals and welfare homes, it is not too expensive in comparison. But the orphanage will definitely expand in the future, and it will be able to recruit more homeless children for him. Those children are the little Marines he uses to train him to become himself in the future. As the children grow up, training, eating and drinking are all a small expense. But what makes him more at ease is that so far, his just and kind persona is still very stable, and no one has the idea of moving his orphanage. You are leaving, don't follow me, I want to have a meal alone. Perona walked to the entrance of the restaurant, placed her round hat with her hand, stretched out her hand and picked up her newly bought black skirt, and pink boots stepped into the restaurant. Having just arrived on a new island and changed into a new dress, Perona is in a beautiful mood. Suddenly realizing something important, Perona quickly turned around, blinked her round eyes, and opened her small mouth in the shape of an O. The pirates who followed her were driven away by her, because the street was crowded with people, and they couldn't be found at all. But when she stepped into the restaurant and was preparing for a good meal, she suddenly realized. No money. On the way, Perona called the group of pirates. Someone did the meal. There were navigators and helmsmen who wanted to buy clothes. The navigators who followed her would pay for her. Even if she meets some men who are plotting against her, the pirates who are quite honest will help her to stop her now. Oh, Tui. Advertisement. Spicy chicken. She is a 12-year-old loli, and someone dared to think about her. Perona looked behind her hesitantly. At this time, should she turn around and get the money back on the boat, or should she go back and get the money? What a lovely girl. Quote. Perona looked at the old witch who appeared in front of her, and opened her small, mouth again in surprise. She subconsciously thought of the zombies of Moriasama. This woman looks like an evil witch, a sort of creature with a zombie, right? Did you encounter something? Bree said with a smile. She recognized the little girl. Reading the newspaper before, I accidentally saw the news of the destruction of the Moria pirate group. The little girl in front of her was a survivor of the Moria pirates. How about picking up this little cutie? Brother will definitely agree. Big sister, I don't have any money. Perona pouted and looked at the big sister in front of her pitifully. Well, since going to sea, facing the pirates, they directly let the other party kneel down and, reflection, facing such kind people who are willing to help, of course, it is sweet to call sister. Bree nodded, and led Perona into the restaurant, preparing to invite Loli to have a meal. Such a cute little girl, it must be fun to pick it up. Bree turned her head. Katakuri sat beside her, staring at the table by the window. Bree looked over there, and today it was her brother who took her out to play. I don't know who was interested in her. Following his brother's sight, Bree looked over. Bree instantly reproduced Perona's expression, with a big, mouth open, and she sucked in a cold breath. Lucas turned around, holding a bottle of wine in his hand, and beckoned to Katakuri in the air. Katakuri stared at Lucas with scorching eyes, couldn't help but want to grab the trident, and rushed out to fight Lucas again for 300 rounds. Since returning to the nations, Katakuri has been following Lucas' news most of the time. Beast's pirates died of the 3 plagues. Kaido is busy where to replenish senior pirate talents. Today's borders in the seas of all nations are much more peaceful than before. Advertisement. Perona originally held a glass of drink happily, and took a sip and chatted with Bree for a while. As a result, Bree suddenly fell silent. Perona looked up quickly, but saw Lucas smiling and waving. Quote exclamation mark quote. Perona felt abruptly and nervously. Bree told her the identity of Bree and Katakuri, and Perona knew that Katakuri was someone who could fight Lucas. Now on this island, 3 pirates have met the big devil Lucas. Yes, that's right, many pirates use a lot of ugly words to describe Lucas. For example, words like devil, warcraft, and pirate killer. After all, Lucas had done the killing of all the pirates before, and all the people on dozens of ships had been killed. Facing this fierce god, Perona lowered her head in fright, holding the cup with trembling hands and drinking her drink. Perona was terrified, but fortunately, she passed the level with her real strength love and she was temporarily covered by Bray. Bree is protected by Katakuri brother, rounding up as Katakuri protecting her Perona. Fear of wool. Perona lifted her head and stared back. Katakuri glanced at the little girl, then continued to stare at Lucas excitedly. Brother, let's eat in another place. It's too. Bree wanted to say that it was too dangerous. Lucas was too strong. It is always bad to have a conflict, but his brother should be better than Lucas. Bar. It's okay. Katakuri shook his head, he did not foresee the sight of them being attacked by Zoro. Letting go, Katakuri watched her sister eating. After a while, he was just about to stand up and find Lucas for a fight. He suddenly foreseen that after he started the fight, whether it was the top level of knowledge or the fruit ability, he would no longer be Lucas's opponent. Lucas hit him so directly that he could only be beaten. Katakuri glanced at Lucas in surprise, then turned his head helplessly. Those things that he foresaw will not be false. Unexpectedly, in a short period of time, Lucas has grown up to where he is now. Lucas sat opposite, took a sip of wine, and looked at the familiar little girl opposite. It seems that I have seen it somewhere, but it feels strange that the scene shouldn't be like this. Chapter 215,213. Poor and helpless Perona. Look for a monthly pass. Advertisement. Lucas was drinking while staring at Perona. Thinking carefully about the identity of this little loli. Not to be outdone, Perona ate a bite of fried noodles, then chewed the food with her bulging mouth, staring at Lucas. Look at me, don't you want to plot against me too? Warn you, this is going to accompany you to sign brother. A light bulb popped up in Lucas's mind, and he remembered who this little girl was. Perona, one of the members of the Moria pirate group, a spiritual fruit-capable person, originally looked and dressed like a little loli when the plot first appeared. Perona was 23 years old when he played, and now Perona is only a teenager. The figure and appearance of the person weren't long, just a little guy, he almost didn't recognize it. Smiled at Perona, so scared that Perona hurriedly lowered her head to eat, not daring to look at him again. Although this person is very handsome and manly, but the key opponent is Marine. When Marine faces the pirate, his smile is scary no matter how good it is. Bree looked at Perona, looked at Lucas, thoughtfully. This Marine won't hunt Perona, right? But Bree didn't have the courage to stare at Lucas, but coquettishly told her brother that the guy was scary. Quote. Katakuri sighed. It's scary and understandable, but you say Marine is really scary. What the hell is it when you see someone's handsome face with a hint of blush? Katakuri ignored them and looked at Lucas thoughtfully. Katakuri was full of admiration for Lucas in his heart. He didn't expect to see him for a long time, and the opponent's speed was so fast that he could not stop him at all. No wonder Jack, Jin, and Quinn of Beast's pirates can be killed successively. Unfortunately, that battle between him and Lucas was destined to be unable to continue. Let's go after eating, Katakuri whispered to his sister. Why? Bree looked at her elder brother in a puzzled way. Ming was so strong, on par with Lucas. Quote. Katakuri sighed. If it were said that he is no match for Lucas now, would it be uncomfortable for the sister who admires and loves him the most? His foresight is the top use method of seeing, hearing, and **x. Unlike other people's perceptions, he can foresee some things that will happen in the short-term future. Advertisement. And his fruiting ability is extremely controllable, and his own strength is strong, but even so, in his foresight, this time he will lose. Lucas has far surpassed him. It seems that the opponent calmed down to train at Marineford and achieved good results. Although Katakuri is the strongest person in the BIGMOM Pirates group except for his mother. But he is not a top powerhouse such as Whitebeard and Kaido. Seeing that her brother didn't answer, Buell quickly agreed sensibly. Katakuri breathed a sigh of relief. Lucas came over, sat down across from Katakuri, and looked at them with a smile. Katakuri's heart tightened. Is this guy not finished last time and wants to continue to fight him? Although he wanted to fight, he was not the opponent's opponent now, and the most important thing was to protect his sister. Can I take her away? Lucas smiled at Katakuri, and pointed to Perona, who was shivering. Lucas had killed the 3 plagues before and was already hated by Kaido. As a result, Sakazuki held the hatred for him and was surrounded and beaten by Kaido and Golden Lion. Before he had the power to kill BIGMOM, he felt it was better to fight with the BIGMOM pirates as little as possible. No, Katakuri flatly refused. Her sister has a good impression of this little girl. He is a mad demon, how can he agree to Lucas's evil request? Woo. Perona looked at Lucas in shock, but was moved by Katakuri and Bree again. Everyone just met for the first time and just protected her like that. I am so touched. Perona posted a post to Bree's side, stay away from the terrible Marine Lucas. Bree took Perona and posted a sticker next to her brother Katakuri, afraid. Let's play. You win, I'll do what you do. But if I win, I will tie you away with your sister and Perona. Lucas slapped the knife on the table and laughed. Said. Brother, defeat this arrogant guy. Bree glared at Lucas angrily. Let's go. Katakuri took Bree's arm, dropped Perona with a blank face, and left the restaurant. My younger sister is the most important person, let alone Perona. Advertisement. Perona looked at the door blankly, then at Lucas who was sitting next to him. The upper row of teeth bit his lower lip, his big round eyes with tears, looked at Lucas pitifully. She is Perona, only 12 years old, Lin fruit ability, the cutie picked on Moriyasama Road. Arrested as a little pirate. Perona didn't even have a chance to reach out Erkin's hand to Sister Bree, who left her and ran away. Sure enough, it was just a passerby, and they simply had a good impression of her. Click. The chopsticks in Perona's hand fell to the ground, and she looked at the tall man next to her shiveringly. Although she was very handsome and manly, she really didn't want to go to jail at such a young age. She still has a great life, and she wants revenge. Her Kumasi didn't take her with her. Eating. Why are you looking at me? Lucas looked at Perona who was crying silently. In fact, he thinks about it carefully. Perona is still young, and he should be able to slowly return to education and stay by his side to cultivate. If you can't get enough, let Vice Admiral give her a wash. I'm done. Ooh. Perona tilted her head back and started crying, which caused the guests in the restaurant to look over. What are you crying? I won't eat you again. Lucas patted Perona's head dubiously. For a little girl like her, Marineford still has one. Didn't he still give BABY5 a good future? It's okay not to say that. When Perona heard this, he was slapped on the head, and his body trembled, crying more fiercely. You will throw me into the underwater jail and let me be tortured, or you will just shoot me, woo. Perona cried, thinking of the picture of herself being thrown into the underwater jail. In a cell with iron railings, a group of fierce and crude-looking pirates looked at her weak little loli and surrounded him. As Perona cried, she squinted at the customers as they pointed. The little butt sneaked aside in an attempt to escape. Lucas held back a smile, ignored the little girl's little movement, took a new pair of chopsticks and handed it to Perona's hand. Let's eat. There are so many scenes. Are you a pirate? Hey. Perona was dumbfounded, tears hung in the corner of her eyes, and blinked at Lucas's sincere gaze. The other party didn't mean to catch her. Help her hide her identity. Chapter 216214. My Kumasi. Advertisement. Katakuri took his sister Bree all the way out of the island, boarded a boat, and headed for all nations. Quote. Bree looked at her brother. Although she had guessed the reason, the sensible didn't mention it much. Perona looked at Lucas in confusion. What kind of medicine did this man buy in the gourd? Caught her, a member of the Moria pirate group, wouldn't she be thrown into the underwater prison? Although what this person said obviously said that she was not a pirate and was helping her to conceal it, but Perona quickly drove Lucas's warm smile out of his head. The other party was Marine, how could she let her go? But what is going on with this terrible, heartwarming smile? Is there fried noodles on my face? Lucas joked. Perona didn't dare to reply, and hurriedly lowered her head to eat. Yes, the other party is Marine, it is impossible to let her go. This guy must be a Marine of inconsistent appearances, with a fair face and a dark face with an unspeakable evil hobby. To her, she must be the same as those damn it's spicy chicken pirate men, who are conspiring and thinking. What? Thinking of this, Perona instantly felt that Lucas's smile was much worse. Have to find a way to escape. Perona's small eyes wandered around thinking about how to escape, and suddenly turned her head, shaking her with a handsome face. Lucas lay on the table and watched Perona's small eyes twirl. The little guy must have been thinking honestly about how to escape. After picking up so many children, he is already very proficient in business, can he not see what Perona is thinking? I am full, really full, full. Lucas smiled and stood up, looked at the well-fed Marines at the other table, and waved. Let's go back and take this little girl, she is a stray. Lucas Vice Admiral is so loving. Ain exclaimed. They haven't paid much attention to the Moria pirates, and they are not familiar with this unfamiliar little girl. Lucas and Katakuri didn't take the initiative to mention Perona's identity, so Marine really believed it. Only thought that Lucas snatched a wandering child who was about to suffer from the pirate. Perona was picked up by Ain, and the surrounding Marine touched her head to coax her. Advertisement. Perona looked dumbfounded, surrounded by a group of Marines, and dared not move. Is this kid shy? Ain tilted his head and said. Quote. Binz looked at Ain speechlessly, ghostly shy, he could see it, it was scared. You scared her, look at me. Binz came to Perona's face, grimacing. It's so ugly. Perona was dumbfounded, how could there be such an ugly person? Trouble move away. Ain glared at Binz with the same sympathy. Just his face is ugly without making a face. Binz stepped away disappointed. Lucas settled the bill, took the Marines and Perona out of the restaurant, and walked towards the shore. Halfway through, a group of pirates walking down the street drinking alcohol saw Perona and then Lucas, looking terrified. Perona was caught. They turned and ran. One thing overcomes one thing. Facing Perona's ability, these pirates can't beat Perona at all. But with Perona's speed against Lucas, there is no chance to even have a hand. Even Katakuri, who can predict the future, can't help him. These pirates dare not provoke the boss. Stop! Binz yelled, and the pirate ignored him and continued running. And Perona lay unsurprisingly in Ain's arms, watching the pirates running away. She knew that, except for the big guys like Katakuri, these pirates came to deliver food. Lucas took Marine all the way to the island where the pirate ship was docked. The pirates boarded the pirate ship one after another, and just about to set sail, a chopping wave flew directly over their heads, directly cutting off the main and auxiliary masts. Rumble. 1 main, 2 and 3 masts crashed on the hull, directly shook, the whole ship tilted and fell towards the shore. The pirates fled to the shore in a panic. The young Marines rushed up one after another. This was Lucas's opportunity for them to show themselves. My Kumasi. Perona looked at the pirate ship heartbroken, but didn't dare to shout out. Regardless of Lucas's intentions, until now, the other party still has not revealed her identity as a pirate. She is only 12 years old now, and no one in the world knows the existence of this member, as long as Lucas doesn't say it. If she said that Kumasi was on the pirate ship, didn't she directly figure out the relationship with the pirate? Trouble. Lucas looked at Perona's expression and understood. Advertisement. As Hemi in his previous life, he still liked the role of Perona very much. Of course, know what is most important about Perona. Lucas rushed out in an instant, slashing through the crowd of pirates with one knife at a time. The screams of the pirates continued to come, like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered, facing Lucas without resistance. After a while, there was a pirate lying on the shore. Lucas pointed to the unsinked pirate ship by the shore. Find out all the money on the ship. Ah, this. A young female Marine looked at Lucas puzzledly. Did they still do this kind of thing? Instantly felt that the ideal of tallness changed. Come with me. Binz led the young Marines onto the pirate ship, which he knew well. After following Lucas these days, he has become accustomed to robbing the pirates. Otherwise, these guys thought that Lucas built the hospital, and where did the money for the orphanage come from? These young people are so innocent, and Marine is going to get a good meal, otherwise Lucas's money came from the wind. The salary alone is not enough to build hospitals and welfare homes. After all, he does not accept red envelopes. Report. I found a cute doll. The female Marine walked out holding a puppet bear doll that was taller than her. She hasn't covered her heat yet, her hands are empty and the doll is gone. Lucasti kept Kumasi and came to Perona. May I give it to you? Thank you, uncle. Quote. Lucas squeezed Kumasi's hand tightly, and smiled barely at Perona. I'll give it to you if I call my brother. Big brother. Thank you. Perona resisted discomfort and pretended to be cute and sweet and said. It's yours. Perona was put down by Ain, hugging her lovely Kumasi, and sighed in relief. She had already thought about taking advantage of Lucas and others to rest in the middle of the night, holding her Kumasi and fleeing. One hand took her hat away and put a Marine hat on her head. Perona looked at Lucas in shock. Damn it. It's too cunning. He even took the opportunity to put a Marine hat on the head of a little pirate of her. It's cute. Lucas rubbed Perona's head triumphantly. Chapter 217,215. Innate skills that go deep into the soul. Advertisement. Wow, such a beautiful little Marine. Ain knelt down and looked at Perona, who was holding Kumasi in a Marine hat, and couldn't help rubbing Perona's small face with his hand. Perona pursed her mouth and stared at Lucas with big round eyes, very angry, but she couldn't help this damn it guy. People have to bow their heads under the eaves. Take a picture, take a picture. Lucas quickly turned around and went to find someone to take the phone worm. This time he came out with the phone worm and put it in Binz. In the past, he often took photos of phone bugs to take pictures of Luffy and their black childhood history. Perona opened her mouth and abba twice, thinking that she can't stop this guy, just let him go, anyway, she will run at night anyway. It's a big deal to steal the photos by the way while running. Come on, smile, ha ha, gaze from the abyss of Lu. Perona laughed quickly, tilting his head. Smile. Ababa. ... Lucas slipped Kumasi in one hand, and returned to the warship with Perona in the other, stunned Zephyr. Ahem. Zephyr really admired. I once heard that Lucas picked up by Sakazuki, and then Lucas picked up a lot of children. Lucas's ability to pick up children seems to be like death in the washing machine next door, and Lucas is like a natural talent. Wherever you go, you can run into children who can be picked up. Sakazuki also picked up Lucas once, but, being blue is better than blue, Lucas really used this talent to ultimate. Even many Marines on the warship couldn't help but want to complain. Lucas went to sea either to do meritorious service or pick up children. It's impossible to go back empty-handed anyway, right? Does this product have an antagonism with human traffickers in the previous life? What they do is to snatch the job of the traffickers. Putting Perona aside, Lucas did it while admiring his inventory. It's all the black historical photos of Sanji, Luffy, Kid, and now there is one more Perona. After receiving a cup of tea from Ain, Lucas took a sip and sighed that he was such a good person. Saved another lost girl. Lu's faction General Marine +1. Advertisement. The warship left the island and headed towards Marineford, the headquarters of Marineford. Zephyr wanted to take these young Marines back. Lucas was helpless because a pirate still did not attack. Dare to attack Zephyr and not dare to attack Zephyr plus Lucas, which also caught him off guard. Lucas was looking forward to how strong he was before. Turned his head and glanced at the sea behind him. Beyond that is the sea of all nations. He wanted to continue to fight Katakuri, mainly because he wanted to hear about the other side's experience of foreseeing the short-term future. It was a pity that Katakuri saw him running away. Fortunately, he is still a fan of Card 2. Hey, ying ying ying. It must be fun for fans to send their idols to jail, right? Hee hee hee. What do you think? Perona walked over, watching Lucas smile so badly. She felt a sudden change in her heart, wanting to detect the news, so she could escape at ease at night. It's a pity. Lucas shook his head, turned around and patted Perona's head. Hey, where's his marine hat? Perona put on her little hat and looked at Lucas puzzledly. What are you thinking about, big brother? Perona asked sweetly, holding Kumasi, trying to pretend to be cute. I want to send the idol to the underwater prison. Quote exclamation mark quote. Perona shuddered. Devil. Then Tenten sat in the underwater prison, chatting with idols and asking some questions. Quote question mark quote. Enough. You are no longer a human being. Perona decided to run tonight, stay with the bad guy and take the juju pills. The night was dark, and a warship slowly sailed towards the distance. Lucas and others are already asleep. Only. Perona leaned against the window, holding her Kumasi, looking at the bright moon in the night. The little face looked wronged at Marine, who was patrolling outside. Ain on the side was already asleep, but her mood was not wonderful at all. No wonder the damn it guy said, sleep well. Advertisement. Perona bit her collar angrily, and tears fell unsatisfactorily. Special Meow's warships are alternately patrolled by Marine detachments 24 hours a day. Moreover, each team has at least 1 or 2 Marines who can see and see. The observation deck is even excessive, and people occasionally use searchlights to scan the deck and nearby waters twice. Hey, is little Perona still asleep? Ain woke up from the bed and walked to hug the poor little one. With a sigh, the little guy wandering on the sea must have suffered a lot in his previous life. Sister, hug you to sleep, be good, go to bed early is good for your health. Perona was held in Ain's arms, feeling the warmth and softness on the other's chest, behind her Kumasi. Lucas's handsome face came to mind. Damn it, can't escape, but in the future, I can only live with them and become a little marine. It's night. Dressrosa. Dressrosa's entire country was surrounded by a circle of boulders, and a group of pirates rushed in from the entrance, raising their swords and guns. A tall, muscular man stood far away from the pirate, with his hands on the hilt of the sword, placing the sword in front of him on the ground. The pirates were getting closer, and they finally saw each other's faces in the moonlight, and they were startled. The man has black hair, a rather peculiar beard, a red cloak, and a gladiator helmet on his head. Behind the man is a team of kingdom soldiers. Gu, Cyrus. How could it be him? When the pirates saw the person in front of them, they subconsciously took 2 steps back in fear. Kill. Cyrus suddenly raised his head, staring at the pirates with fierce eyes, rushed out, and slashed at the pirates with a sword. The soldiers followed Cyrus's footsteps and attacked the pirates. These days, pirates often come to Dressrosa, an already poor country. The king was unbearable, but there were so many pirates that the king could not deal with it. Although Dressrosa without Doflamingo does not have so many tragedies, there is no one to deter New World pirates. In desperation, the king could only find Cyrus again. To his surprise, Cyrus directly agreed to return to the army. As soon as Cyrus entered the crowd of pirates, he directly turned on the crush mode, leading the soldiers to defeat the pirates steadily. It didn't take long before the pirates were defeated. Original, it turns out that the rumors are true. The captain of the pirate fell to the ground, bloodless. Cyrus lowered his head and looked down at the man, and his eyes frightened the captain of the pirate. A pirate has landed on the west coast. Chapter 218,216. Runaway Pedro. Advertisement. Dressrosa, the pirate ship of the Nox pirates, is docked on the shore. Pedro and Jabot were negotiating with the soldiers on the shore. Please rest assured, we will not have any malice towards this country, we just stay here for 1 day, buy some supplies tomorrow morning and leave. Pedro and the soldiers said. Cyrus came over and looked at these fur races carefully. Tonight, you can dock the ship on the shore, and leave tomorrow after you finish replenishing the supplies. Cyrus turned to leave after speaking, leaving a few soldiers to watch them from a distance. They stopped 4 pirate boats one night tonight, and they had to beware of these people. Pedro turned to look at Pokmas and Jabot, and returned to the boat with the 2 of them. Let's rest here tonight, and we will leave tomorrow when we finish replenishing the supplies. It's really a headache for Peebo where he went. What? Hey, Pockums sighed, and Peebo was washed away by the sea, which really broke their hearts. The 4 people originally formed the Nox pirates and went to sea to find the text of history, but this kid was lost. Pedro stood at the bow of the ship, looking at the bright moon in the sky, and didn't know where Peebo's stupid boy was now. Pedro's leopard hair was blown by the sea breeze, and he turned back to the cabin to rest. Pedro has just been out to sea now, just when he was young, and now he is only in his early 20s. They haven't set foot in the world, and haven't gone to steal the red historical text of Bigmom. Jabot was not sucked up to death by Bigmom, and Pedro was not sucked away so much and his life was getting old. Early the next morning, Pedro and Pokmas came to Dressrosa together, bought some supplies, and left Dressrosa quickly. Although I would like to investigate in Dressrosa to see if there is any relevant information in the historical text. But the force of the Cyrus was too strong, and the opponent was full of defense against them. So they can only leave Dressrosa. Not long after the Nox pirates left Dressrosa, they encountered a warship. One after another, shells flew and landed on the sea not far from the pirate ship, blowing up waves. Go! Pedro came to the stern and shouted to his companions. He was guarding against those marines. Many years ago, when Pedro was still young, he wanted to follow Roger, who came to the furry principality. Advertisement. It's just that Roger didn't take him away, he teased him. Pedro treats Roger as his idol in his heart, and has been trying to find his chance to appear for many years. Although they went to sea with their companions to search for the text of the history, they first named their small group a pirate group because of their admiration and goodwill for Roger and Odin. It was clear that the pirates hadn't done any business, so they were on Marines' hunting list. Real cola. One day later, they finally got rid of those Marines. Huh, it's so risky. Pedro breathed a sigh of relief, gathered around his companions, drinking and chatting. Hey, that idiot Peebo won't be caught by Marine, Pocahmus said worriedly. This. Pedro looked at Pocahmus in horror. Bah, what nonsense, how can there be such a coincidence? Where is that idiot Peebo, huh? Where do I know? A lion fur clan, a jaguar fur clan, panicked for the missing Peebo. Jabo sighed and quickly comforted the two of them. When they first went out to sea, they would be brave one by one, but when Peebo was lost, they panicked. Oops, it's Marine. Jibo looked at the warship that appeared in the distance, and hurriedly greeted everyone to escape again. It's not about stealing money and killing people. As a result, a pirate group must be formed. A part of the day is to get rid of the pursuit of Marine, part of the time to find the lost Peebo, and only a little time to find the historical text. It is really true. Find sin and suffer. Lucas glanced at the pirate ship in the distance, and when he recognized the young handsome version of Pedro and the little meat version of Pocahmus, he was already too lazy to move. Collapsing on the recliner, slurping Corona to please the juice he sent, Lucas looked at the newspaper in his hand. It's so sunny. Quote. Corona glanced at the villain speechlessly. You, Marine, who can kill the pirates at every turn, even dislike the sun. Shameless. However, in order to please Lucas and to make her life better in the future, Corona hurriedly responded sweetly, moved the parasol, and the shadows enveloped Lucas again. Good. Lucas reached out and patted Corona on the head. He. Corona tilted her head and laughed, holding her hands together on her chest, pretending to be cute. But she was a little helpless in her heart. Could it be that Corona can only follow this Marine honestly in the future? Advertisement. Although Lucas is indeed handsome, strong and rich. But she really doesn't like being a Marine. Zephyr also learned to fish with Lucas at this time. Anyway, most of the pirates they have dealt with recently are not good enough, and the students can deal with it alone. Zephyr sat reading the newspaper and looked at his students with relief. In a few years, send Luffy and them to me to teach. Zephyr looked at Lucas and said. Lucas thought for a while, wait for them to grow up. Okay. Lucas thought to himself that in most cases, a person's character and thought will be influenced by the growth environment and the thought of the person who educates them. But Luffy's little temper is really a little difficult to deal with. Let's wait until their thoughts are squeezed into the shape of Lucas before giving it to Zephyr. Ein and Binz didn't interfere with the actions of the young Marines either, and sat and watched them busy. But this time the pirates were special, and the opponent fled at full speed as soon as they saw the warship. Most of the young Marines encountered before were extremely arrogant pirates, and many of them took the initiative to fight with them. It was the first time I met the pirate group with full points of loyalty, and for a while, these people were a little bit unresponsive. Lucas folded the newspaper aside, and smiled as he watched the escaped pirates. Pedro and the others have never done the pirates bad things, they have been looking for the historical text, and they will be beaten by Bigmom in the future. He has no idea of arresting these people. The warship came all the way to Dressrosa and stayed here for a while. Lucas took people to the island for a round trip. Walking down the street, Corona followed Lucas, her eyes dizzyingly looking around. It would be nice to run if there is a chance. Little girl over there, welcome to the fairyland of love and passion. Would you like some local specialties? Corona quickly turned and looked at a windowsill not far away, where a little man was sitting with a matching small basket. Chapter 219,217. What is the most expensive hand? Advertisement. A little human beckoned to Corona and patted the little things in his basket. Corona looked up at Lucas strenuously, pointed there pitifully, and wanted to go to Kong Kong. Let's go. Lucas Rua gave Corona's head and led her over. Let's take a look. Small statues carved by the little human race, and small dolls made by the little human race. You must have never seen such an exquisite gadget overseas. Buy one. Such an exquisite thing can be found in Dressrosa. I can't. The villain took out a small statue from the basket and handed it to Lucas and Corona. Corona took a closer look forward, and she was instantly attracted by this small thing. After receiving a little finger-sized doll from the villain, Corona looked more and more surprised. She had never seen such a small doll before. Moreover, the little human race has advantages that normal humans do not have. They can make such a small thing, but also very delicate, every detail is outstanding. Except that this kind of thing looks a bit laborious, it is really something worth collecting. This is to be put in the world of Lucas's previous life, it is really a masterpiece that even the master sculptor can praise. It's not said that there are a lot of stealing things here. Binz asked halfway, and suddenly realized that it is not good to say that the villains steal things. After all, this little human race is relying on himself to make money to eat and drink, and he shut up quickly. Ha ha ha, it's okay. The little human boy waved his hand indifferently. Under the leadership of the princess, we have now begun to do something we can do to make money. The little human boys are very talkative, and don't care about Binz's words at all, and tell them about Dressrosa nowadays. Pirates often invade Dressrosa, an already poor country. Cyrus once again returned to the sight of everyone and began to lead his soldiers to resist the invasion of the pirates. The little human race and Dressrosa started cooperation. They rely on their own labor to get paid, just like what this little human boy does. Together with his mother and sister in the family, he learned from humans how to carve and how to sew beautiful dolls. The boy is responsible for making exquisite small statues full of details, while his mother and sister are responsible for sewing some beautiful and cute small dolls. With the advantages of small size but without losing the details and quality of the work, it attracts foreign visitors, sells the work, and after receiving the money, they will give some money as tuition to the human beings who teach them. Of course, they still have a lot to learn from human beings, and there are still many things that both sides can cooperate with. It is different from Dressrosa under the rule of the Don Quixote family, and also different from Dressrosa under the rule of the Liku royal family. Now Dressrosa truly achieves the peaceful coexistence between humans and the villains. How much is one? Perona asked excitedly. Advertisement. It was so cute that the things made by the little human race were so cute that she couldn't help but be moved. One is 1,000 Baileys, it's very cheap, buy one. Said the little human boy rubbing his hands. It's a little expensive. Lucas looked at the little basket distressedly. There are only dozens of Baileys for a newspaper, and 1,000 Baileys for such a small exquisite doll. He has no interest in this kind of thing, so he thinks that 1,000 Baileys is a little too high. But Perona doesn't think so. Just imagine, leaving Dressrosa, who else in the world can make such small crafts and toys? This is a very precious thing in the world. For Perona, such a small and cute figure, of course, you have to buy it. Perona looked up at Lucas pitifully, pouting her lips. If you want to be a marine honestly, how can you say that you should give a bribe, right? Quote. Lucas looked at Perona with a headache, and took out his wallet distressedly. Which one do you want? All. Quote. Lucas looked at Perona and sighed. You are a little kid, what kind of grown-up? I want it all. That's it, Perona can't escape anyway, he will be taken back to Marineford to train as a small marine sooner or later. Be spoiled in advance. What kind? Lucas asked. This. Perona looked at the two things that the little human boy was holding in his hands. The same small and exquisite statues are also cute and charming dolls. One is more refined and the other is more lovely. As a hand-run party, I am caught in entanglement. I want it all. Perona hesitated for a moment, then made a fist with her right hand and hit her left palm, figuring it out. Since Lucas won't let her go, why should she spend money to save him? Let him see this lady's spending so much money, so that he can let this lady go away in tears. Advertisement. Thank you, count it all, Lucas said. Perona looked at Lucas in surprise, really want it all. Love. Okay. The little human boy quickly put out all the statues and dolls and put them on the windowsill. A total of 15 Dongtada statues and 15 Dongtada dolls, the total is. The little human race lowered his head and counted the works to settle accounts, 30,000 Baileys. Quote. Lucas heartbrokenly pinched a few banknotes from his wallet, folded them, and placed them in front of the villain. Take them so that you don't get blown away by the wind. He, we have 30 more works to be done tomorrow, and we must check it out tomorrow. The little human boy put the paper money in his backpack, which was a head higher than him. It must be. Lucas carefully put these small dolls into the small bag Ain handed over to Perona, and quickly picked up Perona and left. Good guy, although the money is not as swelling as it will be many years later. But in this age, 30,000 berry is enough to buy a broken knife. It cost 30,000 Baileys for such a small amount of hands, which is worthy of being a hand. Perona was surprised to see the small statues and small dolls in the bag, they were all uniquely shaped little humanoids. She raised her head and happily took Lucas's hand. We will come over and buy some more tomorrow. Quote. Lucas smiled wryly and Rua gave Perona's head. Rua's little Loli's head really has a price. But his, must be certain, is the same as the next time, that is to say. Who wants Perona to take it seriously? In order to spoil Perona, she had to agree with tears. Several people walked into a restaurant together, and Lucas seemed to see his own Bailey minus 30,000 tomorrow. Cyrus was sitting in the restaurant, sitting at the table by the window with his daughter Rebecca. Halfway through the picking of flowers, his daughter wanted to come out to eat, so he brought her here. He, open your mouth. Rebecca picked up the dish with chopsticks and sent it to Cyrus, mouth. Cyrus opened his mouth happily, ate the food, and made a funny face to tease his daughter. Hearing his daughter's happy laughter, he looked up at the person at the door. Chapter 220,218. Come to Punk Hazard. Advertisement. Lucas led his men to leave Dressrosa and send Perona to Koala's mother's house. Time passed in a hurry, and 3 years of time were fleeting. In 1513, news came from New World that Daz Bonus and Lafitte successfully gained Kaido's trust and were reused by each other. In 1514, a celestial dragon's ship encountered a shipwreck and came to the Fishmen Island. That guy was still very arrogant, and he was so frightened that Shirahoshi awakened Poseidon's ability, and a huge sea kings appeared in front of the world. And Van der Decken X witnessed Shirahoshi's cries calling sea kings and found the ancestors of the Van der Decken X family, who have been looking for the mermaid princess who can control the sea kings in the legend. Van der Decken is not so much an admiration for Shirahoshi as it is a shameless desire to possess Poseidon and pursue Shirahoshi. But, the love letter of Van der Decken X did not impress Shirahoshi, so after a period of, the princess did not accept my confession, he directly replaced it with a threatening marriage proposal. He used some tricks, touched Shirahoshi's arm with a little effort, and ran away. Van der Decken X is a person with the ability to target fruit. The person his hand touches will become his target. No matter where he throws a weapon, he can fly to the target accurately. From then on, Van der Decken lived a life of never washing his right hand, and gave Shirahoshi a few, small gifts, every other time. Van der Decken X originally thought that one day he could force Shirahoshi to agree to his love through this 8-ring proposal. As a result, he waited for a group of Murlocs and pirates to fight for the love gang. The pirates of the sun found King Van der Decken X one after another, and then Van der Decken X said in public that he had deep love for Princess Shirahoshi, and he liked to reopen the package. Jinbei and the others directly sent Van der Decken X to meet Roger. After Princess Shirahoshi's mother, Princess Otahime rescued the celestial dragons, she followed her and left the Fishman Island to Mariajoy. I don't know what celestial dragons was influenced by Princess Otahime, and she really transformed to celestial dragons. I don't know whether it is the reason why she is too beautiful, or that she has a weird ability to influence people. Anyway, she took the Fishman Island migration official document, issued by celestial dragons and returned to the Fishman Island. Many people accepted Princess Otahime's proposal. The only difference this time is that Tiger and Jinbei, who are more sensible, feel that the attitude of a celestial dragons can't explain much. Advertisement. Just like a certain mold country, although there have been many anti-discrimination policies in the last century. But saying is one thing, doing it is another thing. I don't discriminate against you, but you shot me and I shot you. An attitude of celestial dragons cannot prevent most celestial dragons from buying murlocs and mermaid slaves. People can always find all kinds of reasons to deal with you. Therefore, force is the most important guarantee. With force, the other party will truly treat each other as equals, even kneeling and licking. Tiger and Jinbei went to persuade Princess Otahime, but Princess Otahime was like a female donkey, and the pirates of the sun couldn't bring back the idiot princess. Reluctantly, they could only use a trick similar to Hody Jones to secretly tell the civilians at the bottom of their thoughts. Princess Otahime's great ideals concern them. Since it is still dangerous to live on land now, they just want to live safely in the Fishman Island. Woo! Princess Otahime once again felt the taste of failure. After fighting with Tiger and the others for half a year, the civilians underneath talked and laughed with Princess Otahime on the face, insinuating that she was too naive and did not take the safety of the people into consideration at all. Princess Otahime also felt this attitude, and had no choice but to compromise with the Sun Pirates. Facts have proved that Princess Otahime's charm is not something everyone can influence. Cry to death, those who are determined will not believe you half a word. Lucas can't, neither Tiger nor Jinbei. Because they all have their most determined ideas in their hearts, their will is far stronger than Princess Otahime. Princess Otahime contacted the celestial dragons to discuss it, and the other party also thought that Tiger and the others were justified in doing so. Later, with the help of the celestial dragons, the world government set up a marine base on the Fishman Island, which was formed by a small human marine and most of the Murlocs and mermaid marines. The head of this marine base is Lucas's subordinate, Zachary. Zachary learned the 6 poses and the 2-color hockey, and he taught these to more Murlocs. Advertisement. Since then, Lucas has controlled a lot of Murloc marines. At the end of 1514, a major event occurred in the capital of Seven Waters. Spandam, who was still CP5 at the time, came to the city of Seven Waters 3 days before the final trial of the Murloc shipmaker Tom and ordered the other party to hand over the Pluton design drawings. Tom has Pluton drawings, but how can he give Pluton drawings to the world government? He directly claimed that he did not know what Pluton was. Spandam used some tricks to frame Tom. Eventually Tom was executed, and Frankie was in guilt. Before Tom was executed, in order to prevent the departure of the sea train, he tried to stop the sea train. For Bingshan and others, Frankie does not know his life or death. But Frankie actually floated on an empty ship and successfully transformed himself. Since then, a freestyle frog attempting to stop the sea train has been added to the sea train track in the city of Seven Waters. And this year, Daz Bonus and Lafitte led their pirate men from Wanokuni to the edge of the nations. They got a news that Pokmusi of the Nox Pirates was under the banner of the Bigmom Pirates. In 1515, a tragic war broke out on the island of Kraikana. All the residents on the island were buried. A kind of orangutan on the island learned human war behavior, learned how to use weapons, and learned how to kill. Hawkeye rowed his boat to Kraikana Island, where he settled in an old castle. At that time, a pirate saw Hawkeye's black knife rowing a boat, but it was a pity that the Hawkeye was killed, and this explosive news was missed to the outside world. Time came to 1516. Punk Hazard, within the Marine Research Institute. There are a total of 3 research institutes on this island. Many years later, Gaisahui created the Punk Hazard explosion, leaving only one research institute left. A warship docked on the bank of the Punk Hazard Inner River. Lucas stepped off the warship, followed by an unnamed Colonel Toolman. Over the years, Ain and Bins have made a lot of credit, and they have already left his side. Lucas glanced at the elites behind him and waved his hand. The Marines quickly lifted the iron cages and wooden boxes down. Chapter 221,219. The experimental materials are much cute. Advertisement. Lucas walked to the Third Research Institute, and the Marines behind him happily carried the research materials. Walking into the Third Research Institute, a wretched man who was full of gas floated over excitedly, looking excitedly at the iron cages and wooden boxes behind Lucas. Orangutan. Is it the kind of orangutan that can imitate human behavior on Krikana Island? Guy looked at Lucas excitedly, before Lucas answered, pointing to the wooden box, what is this? Hurry up. Talk. It's your shit. Lucas glanced at Guy Saw, beckoned, and walked away directly, without paying any attention to Guy Saw. Guy Saw is a lunatic. He can create a big explosion in Punk Hazard for his own purposes, allowing a large number of experimental pirates and Marines to be buried in Punk Hazard. And in the original book, although Guy is very committed and not as strong as Doflamingo, he still only cooperates with Doflamingo, not the superiors. Guy even dared to cheat on BIGMOM's funds to pick up girls. What else did he dare not do? Such a lunatic can only use it to kill, even if he suppresses the opponent with absolute force, but Guy might create a 4x Big Bang one day. Lucas is ready to capture or even kill Guy at any time. Punk Hazard has some Marines and researchers who are his subordinates. As long as this guy changes, he will act. Bringing people and research materials, all the way to Dr. Vegapunk's research room. Thank you. Dr. Vegapunk looked at the orangutan in the iron cage, and the plants and seeds inside the wooden box after it was opened. After Golden Lion went crazy, the island he found with the plants of IQ and Daft Green had already crashed. No one knows where the island crashed. It took Lucas some time to finally find the island, and found the remaining 2 plant seeds from that island. IQ, it can promote the evolution of organisms. If you study the medicine made by this plant, it can also speed up the evolution of organisms, and at the same time make organisms full of aggressiveness and grumpy temper. The other kind of plant can block the approach of animals, and can plant a circle of plants to achieve the effect of breeding evolved creatures in captivity. The world government tried to study controlled evolutionary organisms, and thus thought of Dr. Vegapunk. The world government is also interested in Krikana Island, the orangutan that can imitate human behavior. But the Great Marine is not interested in going, or he's just fishing. The poor Marine arrived on Krikana Island and was either hacked to death by the orangutan or by the impatient Hawkeye. The world government remembered Lucas again. Lucas came to Krikana Island and abducted a few orangutans. Small things. Lucas waved his hand. Now he has learned how to use armed internal destruction. And the improvement of the increase ability is still getting slower and slower. Until now, he has only been able to achieve a 65-fold increase. Advertisement. This kind of orangutan cooperates with IQ to really develop biological weapons, and it is not something that is easy to control. Lucas looked at the orangutan and the seeds of the 2 plants. The Marines then carried the things away. It's true. Dr. Vegapunk nodded in agreement. Lucas had the same idea as him. Vegapunk has the technology to transform people. Lucas even suspects that the other party has the technology to make robots. There are rumors that Vegapunk has obtained the technology of those people on the moon, and will have technology far beyond today's hundreds of years. When he watched One Piece in his previous life, he also knew that there were advanced robots on the moon. If Vegapunk uses that technology to transform an evolved biological weapon, the biological weapon can be controlled. But IQ, combined with the orangutans of Krikana Island, originally created a biological weapon full of evolutionary potential and continuous learning. After using the transformation technology to transform, that is not what the world government hopes for. Then I'll go first, Lucas said as he walked out of the laboratory. Go slow. Vegapunk nodded slightly. Lucas's subordinates, or himself, found a lot of interesting things, and many of his subordinates also worked in the scientific unit. The two had chatted a few times before. Without responding to Guy, Lucas directly led the people away from the Third Research Institute. A doctor who was once under Lucas came over, wearing a white uniform, and he now specializes in helping with research at the Punk Hazard Institute. Lucas looked around. There were no outsiders, and then he looked at his subordinates. How is Guy say? Being normal, he hasn't. The subordinate quickly reported to Lucas, and briefly explained what Guy Saw had done recently. Continue monitoring. Clear. Separated from his old subordinates, Lucas took the men back to the warship and did not leave Punk Hazard. He doesn't mind killing Guy Saw. After all, Punk Haddad has many of his old men. He didn't want his old subordinates to die unjustly in the Punk Hazard bombing. Every subordinate is very important to what he will do in the future. Advertisement. For this reason, he doesn't mind collecting enough evidence and killing Guy Saw before he makes trouble. Once Marine caught Kaido, who was waking around once, Cutie succeeded in attracting the attention of Dr. Vegapunk. Vegapunk extracted a little bit from Kaido and discovered the descent factor, thus creating the first class of artificial devil fruit. So, strictly speaking, Guy's belching only means that Kaido's artificial demon fruit power is gone, and Marine still has the ability to make artificial devil fruit. After Guy, it was based on Vegapunk's research to optimize and improve it again. Human Dr. Vegapunk simply doesn't like the man-made devil fruit, and directly allows the ability to be better replicated in the transformed human. A newspaper gull landed not far from Lucas, and Lucas bought a newspaper. What broken news? Lucas silently tossed the newspaper aside. It says that BIGMOM gave birth to the last child and can no longer have children. But, who cares whether you are born or not? The old sow next litter, and the identity of BIGMOM is still interesting. There is no way, the world's attention to the news of pirates is the mainstream of the media. Just as the media in the previous life reported trivial matters about a certain star, it was rubbish news. Marineford. Lucas came back and found Sengoku. As soon as he came back, the other party hurriedly wanted to see him. Lucas is now truly a model worker among Marineford Marine. Revolutionary Army. Yes, isn't that the CP members' business? Lucas was a little dissatisfied. The CP organization was good at searching for intelligence undercover and the other sneaky. Their profession is the counterpart. Someone found Dorag and several commanders of the Revolutionary Army in the city of Seven Waters. Chapter 222,220. The Golden Township exists. Advertisement. For the Revolutionary Army organization, to be honest, Lucas doesn't like it very much. However, the Revolutionary Army can be regarded as an organization against the world government, so he still won't help the world government deal with each other. The task of the world government this time is to let Lucas and CP0 go after the Revolutionary Army. What else can be said? Just turn on the actor mode. CP members are also not good birds, so Lucas is already very good without turning on the "please be sure to beat my teammates" mode. On a merchant ship, Lucas was wearing a black suit, and behind him stood a few CP0s wearing masks, cloaks of exaggerated style, and bright and blind white suits. The men and women of the passengers passed by from time to time, and the dressing of the CP0 really attracted a lot of attention for them. Lucas held a wine glass in one hand and looked at the people behind him, quite speechless. The organizational nature of this group of people should be regarded as spies in previous lives, but what they do, and their style of acting, do not look like spies at all. Whose spy dresses up so arrogantly? Wearing a mask is for the secrecy of identity, and as a result, wearing such a maverick, the supernova is not as arrogant as you. Aren't you wearing a mask? A new member of CP0 asked. Lucas glanced at him, one end of blue hair. Oh, hit it. As a Marine general, it's reasonable for me to take a paid vacation. Lucas took a sip and said, a leisurely batch. Quote. CP0 originally wanted to slap him, how could he have such a leisurely task? But he thought about it carefully, and it seemed to be right. Behave more leisurely, so that it won't be noticeable, right? And they are wearing masks, which is very eye-catching in the first place. But CP0 at the head didn't say anything, and he didn't dare to take off the mask. After the sea breeze was blowing, Lucas and CP0 went back to each house. On the way back, I ran into several beauties who were winking at him. This. Sure enough, no matter how normal he behaves, the handsome appearance of the reader cannot be concealed. Rejecting the kindness of several beauties, Lucas chose to return to the room alone. Lying on the bed, before Lucas closed his eyes, those CP0s walked directly into his room. Quote. According to information, Dorag and others have left the city of Seven Waters. A few days later, on Gaia Island, a pirate ship docked on the shore. Advertisement. Lucas was sitting on the pirate ship, and the CP0s dealt with the pirates on the ship. Gaia Island is full of pirates, and you can occasionally see pirates working on the street. Generally, few passenger ships are willing to come here. Lucas and the others directly chose to borrow a pirate ship. Get off the boat, stretched his waist, glanced at the CP0 behind him, and headed to Gaia Island alone. The intelligence of CP members showed that members of the Revolutionary Army were on this island. However, he did not fight the Revolutionary Army to the death for the purpose of the world government. This trip is really just like what he said, paid vacation. Where are you going? A CP0 looked at Lucas and shouted. It's too conspicuous to find a goal and go with you. Lucas waved his hand and said perfunctorily. Quote. CP0 looked at each other speechlessly, who is the most obvious and not forced to count. This guy has attracted the eyes of many girls all the way. Entering the town, Lucas looked at the pirates on the roadside, resisted the urge to kill them all, walked into a tavern, and sat down at the bar. I asked for a bottle of wine and some food. Lucas thought for a while, but moved to the corner to drink. Sitting in the corner, facing the wall, with his back to the pirates. Take a sip of the wine from Gaia Island and listen to the discussion among the pirates behind him. Just after drinking 2 sips, the 2 waves of pirates in the tavern fought directly because of their quarrels. The table was lifted directly, the light of the knife flickered, and the gunfire continued. The tavernkeeper squatted in the bar in fear, and he didn't dare to show his head with the gun in his arms. Snapped. Wow. Wine glasses and plates were constantly being smashed. Lucas sat firmly in the corner, dipping his head from time to time to dodge the flying bullets, and continued to drink his wine. The pirates got higher and higher, and the red-eyed guy stared directly at the man in the suit sitting in the corner. He swung his knife and slashed directly at Lucas. Lucas ate up the food on the plate, drank a sip of wine, then, without getting up, grabbed the pirate's knife in his hand. Tisk tusk, I am not your opponent. The pirate didn't listen to him at all, and pulled the gun directly from his waist with the other hand, and was about to give him a shot. Lucas put down the wine glass, raised his other hand, and grabbed the pirate's barrel. Puff. Advertisement. The tip of a knife stabbed out of the pirate's stomach, and a pirate defeated the opponent with a single knife. Lucas let go and continued to drink. And the pirate who stabbed the knife behind looked at Lucas with a puzzled look. Who is this person? Boom. There was a gunshot, and the pirate's brain was instantly pierced by a bullet. Many pirates looked at Lucas and hacked at them one after another. It's boring to pecking at each other. Lucas finished speaking, stood up and drank the last sip of wine. His body disappeared instantly. In the tavern, the pirates quickly spilled blood and fell down. Lucas used the shave, and when he came to the back of a pirate, it was a knife. Before long, the two pirates were all killed by him. Everyone is resolved, there should be no disputes, right? Lucas stood in front of the bar and shrugged. The devil. The boss stood up and looked at the pirate who died in the tavern. If you can't tell the result of the argument, kill the arguing person. This is also called the way to solve things. The key is Lucas actually killed both sides. The tavernkeeper looked at Lucas with a bottle of wine, dropped the money and walked out, finally heaved a sigh of relief. I always feel that this guy is scarier than the pirate. Walking down the street, Lucas drank and watched the fight between two pirates on the street. Really interesting. The two also fought because of arguing about some things. The pirate with the sword said that the Golden Township exists, just above their heads. The pirate who used the mace said that there was no golden town in the world, that was just a lie. Both of them were stubborn asses, and they fought directly. Hey, do you think there is a golden town in this world? The uncle who set up the stall looked at Lucas and asked. There is Golden Town, are you still setting up a stall here? Lucas looked at each other and smiled. That's right, there is no golden town in this world, ha ha ha. The uncle laughed. Lucas nodded approvingly, but thought in his heart, sooner or later, I have to go to the Golden Country and get some gold. Unfortunately, his identity does not allow him to contact Robin. Otherwise, he really wanted to put an ancient text version of, Me Too, under Roger's line. Chapter 223,221. Eastern Army Commander Betty. Advertisement. On Gaia Island, Dorag and the Revolutionary Northern Army Commander Callus walked on the street. Several masked men appeared in front of them. The Revolutionary Army found it, contact him. CP0, who was in the lead, said to the people behind him. If they were just dealing with Karas, they would be fine, but Dorag. Let's call Lucas. Understand. Another CP0 took out the phone worm and contacted Lucas. CP organization. Dorag's expression changed, and he quickly turned and ran away with Karas. If it was just the few CP members in front of him, Dorag was not afraid, but he was afraid that the other side would have a helper, or that a large number of warships would encircle the island soon. Can't get in touch. CP0, who was holding the phone worm, frowned and said. Chasing. The other CP0 rushed forward without hesitation. If you can't get in touch with Lucas, keep in touch, but the Revolutionary Army must stay here. A few hours ago, Lucas came to the other side of Gaia Island. Somewhere on the shore of Gaia Island, there was a house in which a man named Vembran Kulik lived. This guy is the offspring of the big talker Rolando. He has been diving day and night for many years to find clues to the Golden Degree, hoping to prove his ancestors' innocence. Kulik found some clues to the Golden Country, and through his observations, he also found an unreliable way to get to Sky Island. As soon as Kulik came to the shore from the sea today, he saw a marine sitting in front of him. Kulik looked horrified, his little brother had many pirates. After all, he just saw the other party's report in the newspaper some time ago. What are you afraid of? I'm just drinking here for a while. Lucas looked at Kulik helplessly and laughed. He really was just sitting here drinking and drinking, but he didn't mean to catch Kulik and his little brother. Kulik's method of how to get to Sky Island, to be honest, is really too FK. Going to Sky Island with the help of soaring ocean currents is like drawing a prize for a certain goose. It is always a thank you for participating. He didn't want to try to have a strong protagonist halo covering him. Although I was really interested in the gold of the Golden Country, I also wanted to add a sentence below Roger's words in a nasty way. But Kulik's method is still not taken as seconds. In fact, there is a second hint in the original book about how to get to Sky Island. Advertisement. It's not a hint, it's basically told explicitly. When the pirate first entered the Grand Line, there were 7 routes to go. When landing from the first island of that route, the magnetic force of the island needs to be recorded every time, and the pointer of the recording pointer will point to the next island. People on Sky Island have said that the second route is an extremely dangerous route. With the help of the Sky Ocean Current, even if there is a little mistake, or the Sky Ocean Current rises high enough to reach the height of Sky Island, then the group of people going to Sky Island will be wiped out 100%. How tall is Sky Island? 1W meters. Imagine how rare it is to spray a 1W meter soaring ocean current, and even if there is a little problem in the middle, it may cause everyone's death. But Bellamy later told Luffy that he also went to Sky Island once. The 1W meter sky current is not a Chinese cabbage, anyone can ride it once. So it is obvious that the remaining route to Sky Island is definitely an ocean current connecting the sea where they are located, the White Sea of the otherworldly Sky Island. Of course, that kind of route is definitely not safe. An old man once said that some people survived on that route to Sky Island, and some died. Is that because there are too many Sky Island specialty monsters on that route? There will always be someone who can walk through it once, and there will always be someone who can leave a message. Lucas didn't believe that no one had ever been to Sky Island. The record pointer points to the sky. If the pirate does not go to Sky Island, it will not be able to record the magnetic force and will not be able to go to the next island. Then this route is a dead end. And there is more than one such thing. The magnetic record of Little Garden will take several years. Don't worry about the monster outside the island, the time for optical recording of magnetic force is another very awkward setting. It can be said that this route is specially designed for the protagonist group. Except for the protagonist group, whoever leaves will be finished. However, many pirates still take this route. Then there must be a way. You believe in Golden Country. Kulik looked at Lucas in surprise. Golden Township exists. Lucas nodded again. Advertisement. The two of them chatted for a while, and Kulik thought that Lucas didn't know about his little brothers, so he boldly chatted with him about investigating the Golden Country. It's not just Golden Town, there are more secrets and relics in this world to be discovered by the world. Lucas looked at the sea and then at the sky. Facing this man who had been searching for the truth about Golden Country for many years, the other party had physical problems in order to find the Golden Country. He will not lie to this person. After all, this guy's current body can't stand the toss of going up. Kulik finally found a man who was willing to believe in Golden Country, even though he was a Marine. He quickly chatted with Lucas about his clues about investigating the Golden Country. Lucas listened quietly, looking towards the sea. I don't know where Raftel is, or how big a pile of IOUs someone left there. And like the sky island above them, how many more are there? There are also robots on the moon on their foreheads at night, so is there anything similar to a computer in a previous life? Heh, he really didn't want to play games, but those things really helped the world a lot. Saying goodbye to Kulik directly, Lucas walked towards the town. Halfway through, I heard a rapid running sound behind me. Lucas looked over, a woman wearing a red hat, a red long-sleeved waistcoat, a tie around her neck, and no underwear. The other party was wearing a long tail skirt and red boots on his legs. This woman is pretty good looking, with purple hair, a trace of exposure in her dress, and a faint dazzling white light. Bello Beatty stopped, looked at the man in front of him, and recognized him. Get out of the way, don't stop me. Betty's words were threatening, but she clenched her fists in fear. Lucas has a question mark on his face. Who is this? Even the current intelligence of the CP organization only showed him information on Dorag and a few revolutionary army. There are still many cadres whose information has not been obtained by the CP members. Betty stared closely at Lucas, who, as a general-level figure among Marine, appeared on a small guy island. Is this the Marine who is working with the CP members to deal with them? Betty looked around, very vigilant in her heart, so there should have been a lot of warships here at this time, right? Chapter 224,222. The route to Sky Island. Advertisement. Bello Beatty is one of the cadres of Dorag in the Revolutionary Army and the commander of the Eastern Army. In her opinion, although Lucas has a good reputation, Marine is Marine. The opponent wants to destroy their revolutionary army too late. You get out of me. Betty said coldly. Lucas didn't pay attention to the strange woman anymore, turned and left. Betty was left with a bewildered look. So, the other party is really not here to deal with them. Betty shook her head quickly. Forget it. She hurried to the direction of Dorag and others. By the time Lucas found the few CP members, they had already been injured by Dorag. I'm going to Chase, you can wait here. Lucas said, leaving directly. Chase. He didn't have the idea of fighting with the Revolutionary Army, but wanted to meet Dorag. Go and ask Dorag for some money, after all, they have taken care of the other's son for many years. Kiki. Kidding. However, the reason Lucas was a bit nasty in the past was that he wanted to ask Dorag what his fruiting ability was. In fact, what he wants to ask most is the mark on Dorag's face really Garp's shoe mark? But after thinking about it, forget it, these words are too awkward, I didn't speak like that. The CP members thought that they would add Lucas and deal with several cadres of the Revolutionary Army and Dorag should be foolproof. Who ever thought that Lucas was a fisherman? CP members never thought about calling Marine support. At this time, Dorag of the Revolutionary Army and many cadres had boarded a ship and quickly sailed away from Guy Island. Lucas looked at a pirate ship about to leave Guy Island and jumped directly on it, drawing a knife before the pirates could react. The icy blade ran across the neck of Captain Pirate, and the Captain Pirate trembled in fright, and quickly waved to make the little brothers put down their weapons. Catch them, Lucas shouted. Who? The pirate captain asked quickly with cold sweat on his face. The ship that just passed by you. Lucas pointed to the ship in the distance. Advertisement. Understood. The captain of the pirate hurriedly commanded his younger brothers, and the pirate ship quickly pursued the Revolutionary Army. Lucas put down the knife, ready to sit aside. A pirate behind him suddenly drew his gun, ready to give him a bullet. Lucas instantly disappeared in place, appeared behind the opponent with a shave, grabbed the opponent's body, and directly slammed his back. The pirates looked at Lucas in horror, and they became honest one by one. Faced with such a strong opponent, they did not dare to have any resistance. I just want the other party to leave this ship soon. Lucas glanced at the captain of the pirate, shaking his whole body with fright, and quickly lowered his head, not daring to look at him. Lucas walked into the cabin, found the pirates, wine, and sat down to the bow of the ship to drink. At this time, the ship of the Revolutionary Army was sailing on the sea, and a man in a cloak covered his head in the cloak, standing at the stern and looking at the young man on the pirate ship behind. He heard what Betty had told him and learned that Lucas was not malicious towards them. But I couldn't understand why the other party had to follow up again. Is it just that I simply look down on the commander of the Eastern Army of the Revolutionary Army, but just want to capture him, the leader of the Revolutionary Army? Dorag didn't understand, but he didn't have any idea of chatting with this young man. The Revolutionary Army developed too late, and they still need to continue to accumulate strength. Dorag should be more cautious about many things. He has followed Lucas in the newspaper, knowing that the opponent's strength is very strong, and even some of the opponent's abilities are matched with weapons, so that he can't help but want to contact the other party. And some of the things that the other party has done over the years are also very appetizing to him. Establish hospitals, let doctors go to other islands, treat the poor for free, establish orphanages, and take in a large number of homeless children. In his opinion, the other party is a very kind marine, more in line with his definition of justice than most marines. But Lucas's identity is too special, the general in marine, the adopted son of Sakazuki, and it is said that the upper class of the world government also attaches great importance to each other. So for Lucas, Dorag still retains a cautious attitude. He didn't really want to contact him before he really knew him. What kind of person are you? Dorag looked at Lucas on the ship behind him. Sometimes what was on the surface was deceptive. So cautious. Lucas shook his head helplessly. He chased him for so long, and Dorag didn't even have any idea to speak to him. He remembers that just this year, the world government will hold another world summit to discuss the dangers of Dorag. Although the revolution of the Revolutionary Army in this world is like a joke, it will only hide in hiding. Advertisement. But for this world, any revolutionary organization is extremely deadly. After all, most countries are still the kings leading the country, followed by the wealth of the noble master. The king, royal family, and nobles continue to oppress the poor in the country. And there is still a large number of slave trades all over the world. For such a world, the Revolutionary Army is indeed deadly. The strong will always be born with the passage of time, but what determines the direction of this world is always only thoughts. No matter how strong Yim is, there is a limit, and he can't face the siege of the whole world. Lucas sighed as he watched the revolutionary ship disappear into view. It's a pity that he hasn't shared Luffy's dark history with Dorag. After looking back at the ship, Gaia Island was long gone. Lucas took out a permanent pointer, then put it away again. Finally, there was an opportunity for paid vacation. It was a luxury to want to rest in marine. Just like going to work in the previous life, the boss said that he would take a single day off, but in the end he asked him to work overtime at the company on weekends. Take a good rest. Where are you going next? ... A few hours later, a large amount of mist filled the sea, and a pirate ship rushed into the mist and disappeared. Lucas sat on the bow, feeling the slight tilt of the hull, and quickly grasped the carving of the bow. The bow of this pirate ship is carved with an eagle head, which should mean to see the distance clearly. Lucas learned the second way to Gaia Island from the pirates. These pirates stayed on Gaia Island for a few months, and they finally found their way to Sky Island. Unlike those scared wastes, this group of pirates decided to try. As long as they can go to the legendary Golden Country, they don't even have to look for Raftel anymore. With a lot of wealth, they can all go directly back to their hometown to enjoy life. And this place filled with dense fog is the second way to Sky Island. In Lucas's perception, the hull has been slowly sailing upward. Chapter 225,223. The Way to Sky Island. The Gate of Heaven. Advertisement. It really deserves to be the magical One Piece world, and most of the navigational cognitions from previous lives are not working here. This sea and land has been winding and winding towards the sky. At first, it was good that a large number of pirates took out torches to illuminate the surroundings. However, after sailing a long way, the route to Sky Island began to narrow. Wow! Amidst the route, a sea beast rushed out and rushed toward the pirate ship. In the mist, the torches of the pirates could barely illuminate the surroundings. A little further away, there was a hazy area in front of them, and the cut could not be clearly seen. Several times the boat almost dashed out of the route and fell into the air. Lucas will remind him every time that if he hadn't reminded them, these guys would have died early. The pirates only heard a sound from a distance, but they couldn't see clearly and couldn't respond. Whoosh! A chopping wave flew out directly, tearing apart the mist, a blood mist gushing forward, and a sea beast was divided into two, and fell not far from the pirate ship. Click. Lucas retracted the knife into the scabbard and knocked on the eagle's head. Don't be distracted. In this environment, if distracted for a while, the ship will be destroyed. Ming, understand. The pirates got busy one after another, looking at Lucas one by one, as if they were looking at a monster. Those who have not been beaten by New World, they don't know what hockey is. Around the world, the pirates in the first half of the Grand Line know very few hockey, so few. And this is precisely the most dangerous point of this route. With thick fog, the route to Sky Island is narrow and winding, and there are many sea beasts lurking in the route, and a few rush out from time to attack. For a pirate whose eyes are blackened, he can't even perceive it. It's really deadly. I have to say that Bellamy is indeed a talent, but unfortunately he misunderstood the person. Some people actually know this route, but few people can go up to Sky Island alive, and those who go up are too lazy to go back and tell the newcomers about Sky Island. So over time, fewer and fewer people choose to take risks. There are fewer and fewer people who know this route. When Lucas sensed a sea beast rushing, he withdrew his sword and cut out a chopping wave, and a cloud of blood exploded around the ship. The pirates looked at Lucas vaguely. Is this the power of the swordsman? They really want to ask how the other party can perceive the enemy in the fog. Under Lucas's reminder along the way, the pirate ship finally passed the most difficult part of the voyage. After a layer of clouds, there was finally no fog around the pirate ship. Lucas breathed the surrounding air and felt a lot more comfortable. It's better than in the mist. Advertisement. Looking at the phone bug, Lucas contacted Sengoku, his immediate boss. Dot 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 dot. Thinking about life. Sengoku looked at the phone worm dumbfounded, put the microphone back, and glanced at Garp who was laughing. Lucas actually said to him, I am lost on the road of life, I am thinking about life. Garp was the first to laugh. This kind of reason is indeed a freshness in the lazy world. At the same time, Lucas's S sighed, leaving the most dangerous foggy route, although the pirate ship at this time is still sailing on a winding route with no end. But the pirates no longer had their eyes blackened, and Lucas didn't need to remind them. Lucas sat on the eagle's head and watched the two pirates fighting together. He drank the wine and waved in ovation. Kick him in the crotch. Yes, just do it. Lucas smiled as he looked at the two gangsters who were fighting each other. Captain Pirate looked at this nasty marine, what do you want in the end? He didn't kill them, he didn't catch them, and he encouraged his men to fight, and the tricks he made had no bottom line than the pirates. The sea route pirates at this time had already seen clearly that it was a sea route like a cloud. Wow, a white wave bloomed, and a sea beast rushed out and hit the pirate ship. Lucas drew his sword instantly, turned and cut out a wave of chopped blows directly behind him. The chopping wave instantly splits the sea beast into two. Wow, another sea beast rushed out from not far away, bit a pirate's body directly, and rushed into the route with him and disappeared. The pirates who watched the two fight and applauded instantly shrank into a group in fright, watching the route vigilantly. The pirate captain looked at Lucas angrily, but held back his anger. Without him, daring. Haha, didn't you see it, do you believe it? Lucas smiled and looked at the captain of the pirate, still sitting on the eagle's head. The pirate captain turned his head angrily, not wanting to see Lucas. I believe you a ghost. A cut in the mist, and the result is that there are sea beasts under your eyelids to take the pirates out of the mist. This guy obviously didn't take the pirate's life seriously. After a long voyage, the pirate ship arrived in the White Sea. And above them, there is the White Sea. Advertisement. There is the real existence of Sky Island. Lucas let the pirate ship move forward. Okay, it's amazing. The pirates looked at the peculiar sea beside the ship and the creatures emerging from the White Sea. A sea beast rushed out, and a pirate shot quickly. Snapped. This sea beast actually exploded. The pirate looked at the White Sea with a dazed expression. According to his cognition, the sea beasts are all delicious foods with a large amount of food. This ingredient is really fried. Big head.jpg. There was also a pirate who directly fished out a fish and bit it with his mouth bravely. Cowhide. Lucas couldn't help saying. Regardless of whether it is poisonous or not, direct gnawing is also a fierce person. The pirate had just bitten the head of the fish, and the fish instantly inflated like a balloon, directly bulging the pirate's mouth. It caused a burst of laughter from everyone on the ship, and even more laughed wildly on the deck. In order to adapt to the environment here, the creatures of the White Sea and the White Sea have evolved various peculiar abilities. The pirate ship sailed some distance, and what caught Lucas off guard was that they did not come to the gate to the White Sea. But, between the White Sea and the White Sea, there is a town where people live. With doubts, he and the pirates came to the town and asked about them. By the way, he bought some supplies and wine with the pirate's treasure. I see. Lucas nodded, relieved. This is also a place where some people live on Sky Island. According to these people, to go to their destination, they have to continue the voyage for at least one day. Their ship sailed on that winding sea route for a long time, but it actually broke away from the original Guy Island. In the small town, Lucas used the pirate's treasure in exchange for a lot of Sky Island currency. One day later, a gate leading to Sky Island. Captain Pirate looked at the sign on the gate for a long time and rubbed his hair. I don't know him, what do you mean by someone? The Gate of Heaven, Lucas said while looking at the English. This name is unlucky. Chapter 226,224. For God tier officials. For subscription. For monthly pass. For reward. Advertisement. An old woman with a pair of wings on her back came out of this so-called Gate of Heaven, stood on the side, holding a camera in her hand, and constantly taking pictures of the pirate ship. I am the surveillance officer at the Gate of Heaven. Are you here for sightseeing or for war? The old woman asked, looking at the people on the pirate boat. Beat. An idiot pirate was about to rob him when he was knocked down by Lucas. Play. Lucas said with a smile. This old woman has some impressions, and the other party will say that entering Sky Island requires a fee of 1 billion IQ per person. Sure enough, the old woman said these words next. The idiot pirate had just stood up and was about to yell at him when he was hammered down by Lucas again. It seems that it is time for Enel to lead his priests away from Ganfer. Old lady, we don't have that much money. Why don't I mortgage him to you? He is young and handsome and you are satisfied, ha ha ha. The captain of the pirate joked, pointing to the idiot pirate who just got up. The old woman stared angrily at the pirates, and directly called out the Special Express shrimp, a specialty of Sky Island. Two huge red shrimp claws protruded from the White Sea and directly grasped the pirate ship tightly, rushed out, and rushed towards Sky Island. The old woman really didn't want to hear this group of bastards say a few more words, and quickly contacted Sky Island, ready to bestow a divine punishment on this group. What? You can go in without paying, huh? The pirate captain said silently, and at the same time looked at Lucas, asking when did he leave. Lucas looked at the light that appeared in the clouds in the sky, and the pirate ship, led by the express shrimp, rushed directly up. The pirate ship flew out and landed on the white sea with a thud, splashing white waves. Here, let's go to the Golden Country. Lucas stood up first and shouted. Quote. The captain of the pirate said in his heart whether he should integrate into the pirate like this, you are Marine. Forget it, as long as the other party doesn't kill them after leaving, everything is easy to say. Lucas glanced at the island formed by clouds in the distance, and led the boat over to the island. He picked 2 fruits from a big tree, returned to the boat and ordered the pirates to leave again. Sky Island. The sea formed by clouds is vast and endless. Lucas directly found the location of Golden Town and Enel's hiding place in the state of increasing experience. Under his guidance, the pirate ship quickly sailed towards the only land on Sky Island. Not long after, a beautiful girl with braids walked over and looked at the deserted shore in confusion. Didn't it say that there were intruders? She was still wondering whether to lie to them. Advertisement. Result. People. Enel sat in his seat, listening to the reports from his subordinates, and suddenly, he looked in a certain direction. In his perception, the group of outsiders had already left their trap and came towards here. Lucas held 2 Sky Island specialty fruits and handed them to a pirate. How about it? The pirate looked at Lucas suspiciously. Is this guy trying to poison him? The pirate hesitated. At this moment, the idiot pirate before grabbed the fruit and ate it. Hearing a scream, several teeth of the idiot pirate collapsed. Lucas couldn't help laughing, holding a dagger in his hand, cutting a hole in the fruit in his hand, and drank directly. The pirate showed an expression of, that's how it is. Just as he was about to dig a hole with a knife, the captain snatched the fruit in his hand. Quote. Above the sky, a strange-shaped Pegasus, with Madara's pink skin flew up, and this guy landed on the deck of the pirate ship. On this guy's back, there is an old man wearing a white armor and a cloak, holding a spear. He is Gonfeuer, the former god of Sky Island, and he is not as bluffing as his name, but he is actually the leader of Sky Island. Ganfer recommends his services to everyone and protects them for a fee. Just blow the whistle and call him to rescue them. Of course, it's free for the first time, and then call for money. Actually, I want to blow it now, let the old man come over and chat with me. Quote. After all, Ganfor couldn't beat Enel, and Lucas's subordinates could also deal with it. Ganfer's service is very useless to him. Watching Gonfeuer fly away on his mount. In fact, Gonfeuer's mount is not a horse, but a bird that eats the fruit of horses and horses. The opponent's mount was originally funny, but it turned into a Pegasus to be even more funny. Advertisement. The pirate ship came to the shore of the sandy island, the pirates docked the ship on the shore, Lucas disembarked, and other pirates followed. Although they were reluctant to be Lucas's tool man, they couldn't refuse a visit in the face of the temptation of a large amount of gold in Golden Town. Lucas and the pirates walked into the forest, and the sandy island was washed up by the upward current from Gaia Island below. There is a reassuring land here. Of course, because of the passage of time, there are also cloud marshes in certain places on this island. Cloud marsh is a hole in some parts of the island where the land is broken and exposed to the bottom, and the cloud fills that part. Those who step on the Yun marsh will quickly fall downwards. If you are lucky, there is still land under the Yun marsh, but there is a possibility of being rescued. If you are unlucky, you will fall directly to the edge of the cloud without the bottom of the sea and fall 10,000 meters below. And a priest under Enel can skillfully use Yun marsh to deal with opponents. If you fall so high and shoot on the surface of the sea. Cannot imagine. Lucas was walking in the forest. Suddenly, a pirate stepped on the air and fell directly into the cloud marsh. Lucas glanced at each other and ignored it. The intruder stopped. 4 people stood in front, reaching out to block everyone. A man in a purple outfit with a strange hairstyle bit his mouth vigorously, his eyes rolled wildly at Byakugan, looking at the few people he couldn't see. A round body wearing a yellow dome hat looked at the pirates with a smile. There was also a man holding a spear and a mount beside him smiling at them. And a bald guy wearing sunglasses, holding a long knife. These 4 people are the 4 priests who follow Enel, namely, the Trial of the Swamp, Geddes, the Trial of the Ball, Chaudhry, the Trial of the Rope, the Sky Knight, and the Trial of the Iron, Om. This is a forbidden land, you even trespass here, don't hurry to kneel down and accept God's sanctions. The long knife in Om's hand pointed at Lucas, and he whispered. Do you have a delay? Quote. Hearing the sound coming from behind, Om looked at someone who disappeared from the other side, turned around and looked behind him quickly, and at the same time his knife was directly cut out. Om's left-handed knife and right-handed knife shell, his knife is made of clouds, which can be softened and formed into a wave shape, or turned into a whip. Chapter 227,225. Ganfer. Can't beat, goodbye. Advertisement. The long knife slashed directly at Lucas. Lucas instantly disappeared in front of Om, and then appeared behind Om again. Shadley patted Lucas directly with the palm of his hand. Shadley is good at using shock shells, and can hit and hurt people directly with one palm. At the same time, he will also use an ability, which is what Lucas they call observation hockey. Only, in front of Lucas, it was useless. Shadley clearly sensed Lucas, but couldn't keep up with the reaction. Lucas dodges the shock wave from Shadley's impact on Bay, and then hit face Shadley with a palm. At this time, the other 2 priests also recovered, and one wielded a spear. And the other guy Geddes. This guy likes to bite his lip and turn Byakugan when he is nervous, and it's still so hopeless. He bit his mouth, flipping through Byakugan and couldn't see anything at all. He stepped on the air, and the person fell directly into the cloud marsh. His legs took advantage of Sky Island Shell's gushing impact and flew directly. I have to say that the function of Sky Island's empty shell is simply amazing. Lucas decided that before going back this time, he would buy several Sky Island shellfish, which were specially used for wine. Dodging the long spear of the Heaven Knight, Lucas knocked Ohm back with a single knife, and then he held the scabbard in his left hand and slammed it on the face of the Heaven Knight. Boom! The Sky Knight slammed into a tree in the distance and stood up, with a clearly visible red horizontal stripe mark on his face. He jumped directly on his mount, flew into the sky, and attacked Lucas. Lucas disappeared instantly, and the Sky Knight commanded the mount to fly high again, circling constantly, looking for opportunities to deal with Lucas. Ohm rushed over, and Shadley also reminded Geddes that the other party returned to normal. He looked at Lucas and rushed directly to besiege Lucas. Lucas forced Ohm back with a knife, kicked Geddes away, and then slapped Shadley's face with a slap. The chubby priest flew out again, with a clearly visible red handprint on his face. Ohm's knife deformed, and it quickly extended and lengthened towards Lucas. The big trees were cut directly by him, but Lucas was the only one to be seen. Lucas appeared behind Ohm. Ohm was shocked, but it was too late to block with a knife. Lucas killed Ohm with a single blow. Advertisement. Just as the other Sanming priests were about to continue to besiege, a flash of thunder flashed, and Enel instantly appeared in front of the priests and others, reaching out to stop them. Enel sat on the ground and looked at Lucas playfully. Stupid mortals, do you know how far apart you are from God? Seeing that Lucas didn't reply, Enel pointed his finger at a pirate. A flash of thunder flashed and hit the pirate's body directly. Thunder and lightning threw pirate's body black and white smoke to the ground. Enel looked at Lucas, who has not had time to save his companion, and sneered. Did you see? I control the thunder and lightning. I am the god, and your resistance is nothing but futile. Become my subordinate. You are qualified to be a priest. Enel looked at Lucas admiringly and said. Are you a god? I don't believe it, Lucas said with a smile. Quote. Enel sighed and stretched out his hand. I will let you for 5 minutes. I won't move. You can hit. Lucas disappeared in an instant, and Enel was shocked. He didn't even react to the elementalization to use it, and his face was hit with a fist covering the color of arms. Enel took off directly and hit a big tree in the distance. Quote. Quote exclamation mark quote. The pirates looked at the scene calmly. Lucas and the others understood, calmly and calmly. The other 3 priests all looked at the beaten Enel with shocked faces. The flag was still excited in the first second, and the next second he took off with the flag. It was unexpected. How about you being my adjutant? Lucas stood not far away and smiled at Enel. Enel's face was pale, without a word, staring at Lucas with some anger. His body disappeared instantly, appeared directly behind Lucas, and a lightning struck Lucas. Boom. Lucas stood in the distance, looking at the ground struck by thunder and lightning, and continued to enter a state of growth, full of growth. One has a very fast rate of increase, and also has a high response. The other has the speed of thunder and lightning, which is faster than the opponent, but the reaction is not as good as the opponent. Each has its own advantages, and each has its own shortcomings, causing the two to directly compete with each other for speed. The pirates and priests put down their weapons, watching the knife marks and thunder and lightning that appeared around from time to time. They were really unable to intervene in the duel between the two. There is no way to even watch the battle. No one can see, only the traces left by the battle between the two. The captain pirate's brain is sluggish, so are there so many such terrifying powerhouses in the world. Advertisement. I thought that there would be no more force between them and the strong, but as a result, these two are still individuals. He quickly picked up the whistle and blew it. The battle between Lucas and Enel continues. Whenever Enel feels that he is about to hit Lucas, the opponent can always dodge the attack more nimbly and swiftly than him, and then punch him. Of course Thunderbolt Lucas couldn't hit, nor could he hit, but Enel didn't react as fast as him, and his elemental body could always be hit by his armed color. Soon after, above the sky, a bird flew up and landed on the ground. Gonfeuer got off the mount and looked at the pirate. Is it asked me to help you deal with them? There are too many people, so you have to add money. It's not them, there is only one person you need to deal with. The captain of the pirate said flatteringly. This old man looks very powerful, and of course good steel needs to be used on the blade. You need to deal with the guy who can turn into lightning. Quote. Gonfeuer looked at the pirate with an expression of, did you take the wrong medicine? He dealt with Enel. If he can play, he will not be defeated by Enel this year, and he will lose his position as a god. Can't beat. Next one. Quote. The pirate no longer looked at Gonfeuer, and continued to wait for the end of the battle between the two. Enel wants to kill the invaders. Lucas is marine. No matter who the two are fast, the pirates can't escape any of them anyway. They can only wait for the result honestly. After all, if they were to run, it would be easy for either of them to kill them. Boom. A wave of slashing slashed out, directly cutting off the big trees. The priests who watched the battle couldn't help shaking with fright. Click. A flash of thunder and lightning passed, directly smashing a big tree. The pirates looked at the other side with numb scalps and dared not go anywhere. Like the priests, they squatted on the ground, shivering. I am afraid that the battle between the two will affect them. Fairies fight. Mengxian is afraid.